On a lovely early spring evening at Fenway Park, tonight the Red Sox shoot for a 3-game sweep of the Oakland A's. The bats are booming. The Sox scoring 27 runs and winning the first 2 games against Oakland. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Fenway. Great to have you. Dave O'Brien alongside Jerry Remy. Gary Streisky will be joining us in the broadcast as well. And, Jerry, it is up to Rick Porcello tonight to pitch the Red Sox to a sweep over these Oakland A's. He's 5-1 with an ERA under 3 and a lot of strikeouts.
Well, it's certainly a case to be made that he's been the Red Sox best pitcher so far, starting pitcher in this season for the Boston Red Sox. And when you look at Porcello's numbers on the year, they're very, very impressive. And the number that sticks out, only 8 walks in the 39 2/3 innings to go along with 41 strikeouts, which means, you know, he's throwing strikes, he's getting the ball down in the zone, that sinker, but he's also able to elevate the fastball to pick up some strikeouts when needed. And, of course, anytime Porcello pitches, you need a good defense behind him because he does throw those sinkers, gets a lot of ground balls, and the Red Sox have played very good defense behind him. You know, when you look at last season, he really got things turned around toward the end of the year. A little bumpy in spring training, but since the start of the season, I think he's been the best Red Sox starting pitcher.
So a sweep would make it 4 in a row for the Red Sox. The big question is against these Oakland A's, will the bats continue to boom like this with all of these runs and all of these hits? I'll tell you what, folks are starting to get to the ballpark a little bit earlier because the Red Sox are scoring in that first inning so often. Red Sox and the A's, Game 3 coming up from Fenway. Toyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. By Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. Subaru Retailers of New England, supplying award-winning all-wheel drive vehicles throughout New England. By DraftKings, the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of your Boston Red Sox. By the 2017 Kia Sportage, visit nekiadealers.com to learn more. By Digital Federal Credit Union, see what DCU can save you. And by Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, and nothing to hide. Just a sparkling night here at Fenway, very much like last night where the Red Sox routed the Oakland A's. Gary Streisky is somewhere in the ballpark, a long, long way from home plate. Gary?
Boom, we visited this place last night in the ballpark, at least baseball did. OB, Jerry, I know you guys can agree with me on this. We don't need no stinking exit velocity to tell us that the home run Hanley Ramirez crushed yesterday was absolutely smoked. By the way, it was 114 miles per hour. Hit the light pole. Listen, we've seen a home run travel this far before. It was back in 1975. Jim Rice, as a rookie, hit one so far it got lost in the folds of the American flag and ended up on the Mass Pike, and honestly, hand rams probably would have ended up on the Mass Pike if it wasn't for the gigantic light stanchion. Yesterday, 468 feet to get the scoring started. After the game, we said, Hanley, that was an absolute blast. The second longest home run hit this season. The only person that's hit one further, Giancarlo Stanton. Hanley sort of laughs it off and says, don't worry, the season's long. I'll probably top that. So OB Jerry, hopefully he tops that one tonight, looking for his 5th home run as the Red Sox are looking for the series sweep when we come back.
Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And back at Fenway, the Red Sox and the Oakland Athletics about to wrap up the series, and then the Houston Astros are here for 4 games. We'll give you a look at the A's lineup now. It's brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. Coco Crisp will lead it off. Billy Burns is next. Josh Reddick is in right field. Chris Davis in left. Stephen Vogt the catcher. Billy Butler at first base. Yonder Alonso at third, Marcus Semien is shortstop, and Chris Coughlin is at second base and batting ninth. Sox starting pitcher presented by your New England Audi dealers. It is Rick Porcello. Lost for the first time in his last outing, 3-2 to the New York Yankees.
The Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. They are now second in the American League with 13 errors in 33 games. Travis Shaw back at third base. Xander Bogaerts the shortstop. Dustin Pedroia at second. Hanley Ramirez the first baseman. Left to right, Chris Young, Jackie Bradley Jr., Mookie Betts. And doing the catching will be Christian Vasquez.
Tonight's umpire is brought to you by ToyotaCertified.com. Alfonso Marquez behind the plate. Chris Guccione makes the calls at first. David Rackley at second. And Larry Vanover is the umpire at third. Well, we're available. This telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your TV remote. SAP presented by ToyotaCertified.com. Search for your factory-backed Toyota certified used vehicle right now.
Buenas noches, amigos.
And the weather is perfect. It's brought to you by Benjamin Moore, the official paint of the Boston Red Sox, sitting at 66 and not a cloud in the sky. Coco Crisp will lead it off. He'll step in hitting .247 with 3 home runs. The A's have lost the first 2 games to the Sox 14-7 and 13-5. Although they have scored some runs. They've scored 12 runs for Bob Melvin.
Yeah, they've got to be happy with their offense in this series. It has not been the problem. The problem has been their pitching, obviously, and especially their starting pitching.
Sox have won 6 in a row against Oakland. And we are ready to go at last with Coco to get in. Porcello 5-1 with a .295 earned run average. And looking to bounce back tonight from a loss. He's high and wide, and we're underway. That start against the Yankees was the first time the Red Sox had lost in any of his starts. And he misses outside.
Porcello in his career has faced the Athletics 12 times, 11 starts, a record of 4-5, a 3.86 ERA. There you see the numbers against the Yankees last time out.
The 2-0 pitch, and it's dribbled foul, almost got Burns in the on-deck area.
After a couple of high sinkers, that time Porcello able to get the ball down in the zone and get the foul ball by Coco Crisp.
Porcello gave up a solo home run in the 7th inning. That's what cost him the ball game in the end. 2-1. That was the game where David Ortiz became outraged and was ejected for that terrible call. In particular, the 3-2 pitch. Here's the 3-1 to Coco. He's bunting. Got it down. Fair ball. Vasquez spins, guns, and gets him. That fine arm on display for the out.
Good job by Vasquez there. Very quick to get to the baseball before it goes into foul territory. He knows the ball's not bunted very well down that third base line, so he's got a chance to get that ball on the line and throw out Coco at first base. If it's one more step, the ball probably goes foul, and Crisp has another chance. But very quick work there by Christian Vasquez behind the plate.
One away for Billy Burns, the center fielder, hitting .270. No homers, 3 runs batted in. He comes in with a 6-game hitting streak.
Got very good speed. He likes the bunch. You can see Travis Shaw in very close at third base, and even Hanley just a few steps behind the first base bag. Pedroia in close also at second to protect against that drag bunt.
Porcello's 1-0 pitch and a chopper foul. Yeah, he had good enough speed in high school in Georgia and was a good enough wide receiver to merit Division I football interest. His dad, Bob Burns, was a running back and a teammate with Joe Namath on the 1974 New York Jets.
Wonder if he hung out with Namath.
Ooh. Like to hear some of those stories. The 1-1 pitch. Rattled behind the bag. Snagged by Ramirez. Hanley will get there for the second out.
Hanley playing close to the line. That was a changeup by Porcello, and you know, not all the time, but sometimes the first baseman will get the signal from the second baseman that there's going to be an off-speed pitch, and that'll move the first baseman a little bit closer to the line. You can see where Hanley's set up. It's an off-speed pitch, a changeup. He's right there to make the play and get the second out.
It'll be a challenge to make it a 1-2-3 inning because of the way this guy's swinging the bat. Josh Reddick, former member of the Red Sox, he takes a little low, and yeah, he's hit safely in 6 in a row, but over that streak he is 15 for 24. So there are hitting streaks and then there are hitting streaks, and he is scalding hot right now.
You know, that first pitch of this at bat, that's a pitch that Porcello has to have. It's a sinker ball pitcher. You need the ball at the bottom of the strike zone. That's exactly where he got it, but it was not called a strike.
The 2-0. High fly twisting down the left field line. That one headed into foul territory, and it is a foul ball.
This is the first pitch of the at-bat to Reddick, and I thought this ball was certainly going to be a strike. You can see it's down about knee high and gets the bottom of the strike zone, and that's what he's going to have because he wants to be down in that area.
Alfonso Marquez said no, at least on that occasion. So 2-1. Reddick 3 for 8, a home run against Porcello, but he pops this one up, and it's Travis Shaw there. He wants it and puts it away, and a fast start for Porcello. He gets a 1-2-3. Betts, Pedroia, Bogarts coming up for the Red Sox. won 12 of their last 16 games and usually getting off to a hot start. Bottom of the first inning. And about to face a left-hander. The Sox lineup brought to you by BuyAToyota.com. Toyota's website for deals. Mookie Betts, Dustin Pedroia, Xander Bogaerts. To be followed by David Ortiz back in there tonight. Hanley Ramirez, Chris Young, Travis Shaw, Christian Vasquez, and then Jackie Bradley, who's hit in 16 in a row. Up against Eric Surkamp. He's 0-2 with a 5.59 ERA. Just recalled from AAA Nashville for tonight's start. 28 years old. And the first one to Mookie is in there for a strike. Surkamp was up earlier in April and he made 4 short starts. He went 4 1/3, 4 2/3, 5 2/3. That was his longest, and then 4 2/3.
And he's made 2 career appearances against the Red Sox, both in relief here at Fenway Park. Only a total of an inning and a third in those 2 outings.
Mookie hitting .252, 5 home runs. He hit one yesterday, and that one nearly hits him.
Tried to snap off the breaking ball that time with a couple of strikes on Betts and way overthrows it. Mookie has to use those quick feet to get up and out of the way.
And to skip the rope there. Mookie with a leadoff home run last night. That was his 3rd leadoff home run in his career. The 1-2 pitch. Got a piece. He is 3 for 10 in the series. Manaea last night, a short outing. The Red Sox just clobbered him. Just 2 2/3 and 8 runs. I haven't seen many games in the last few years, Jerry, where so many guys barreled it up against one pitcher.
Yeah, there was some very hard hit balls in that game last night off Manaea. Even the outs were loud outs.
2-2 popped up. That'll twist foul out of play. Red Sox with 16 hits last night that matched a season high. And they are now a season high 7 games over 500. If they're going to get on top of this division and get some separation, however, it'll take the pitching staff to be more effective. Cut on and miss. Down goes Mookie. Right now the staff ranks 10th in American League ERA at 4.24.
Now the A's defense is brought to you by DraftKings. They are last in the American League. 25 errors in 34 games. Yonder Alonso at third base. Marcus Semien the shortstop. Chris Coughlin at second. Billy Butler at first. Left to right, Chris Davis, Billy Burns, Josh Reddick, and Stephen Vogt doing the catching.
And Dustin Pedroia, the batter, 307 with 5 home runs, 18 driven in, and he'll take a strike. He's been tearing up the A's. He has a 16-game hitting streak against Oakland, hitting .393 during that. 24 out of 61.
A little bit more velocity that time. 91. The first fastball he threw tonight was 88, so he's gone up a few to 91 on that last one to Pedroia. Up and away.
1-1 pitch popped up. Foul off first base. Vogt giving chase. Heading near the stands, but it's over the top of that screen and into the box seats. Kevin Millar in the seats tonight. And there's Maverick. Maverick shoot. You remember on April 29th, David Ortiz made good on his promise to hit a home run for the 6-year-old from Wyoming, the heart patient. And thanks to Kevin Millar, working with Children's Miracle Network hospitals, Maverick got to meet David today.
Oh, that was great. That was really great stuff prior to the game.
Maverick has already been through 30 surgeries, over 30. He's going to have another one in a few weeks. This was before the first pitch. A wonderful moment hanging out with Big Papi. Maverick carries a Big Papi Lego wherever he goes, his parents have told us. Hard hit behind third. Alonso with a backhand stab. Low throw dug out by Butler. And there are 2 down.
A very nice play by Billy Butler over at first base to scoop that ball out of the dirt. Alonso had himself planted at third base, made the throw, but it came up a little bit short. As he's playing close to the line, plays the in-between hop, had time to set up, but there's Butler making the scoop at first base to get Pedroia. So pretty nice play on both ends. First of all, Alonso going to the backhand, then Butler on the scoop. And Alonso appreciates the good work by the first baseman. You always do as an infielder.
Xander Bogaerts with a wave and a miss, hitting .318 now with 2 home runs. Best fielding first baseman you ever played with was
George Scott.
the 0-1 pitch. Hit gently. Semien and the third baseman Alonso let it roll right by them and off into left field, so the Red Sox catch a break. Little miscommunication between those two.
Yeah, I think probably the best chance was for Alonso cutting across, because Semien, you'll see him, they cross each other, the cross, and then Semien's charging it, and they decide to let it go. It doesn't matter who's going to get that ball. If somebody makes a play, they're not going to get Bogaerts at first base anyway. It's one of those very strange ground balls that 2 guys had an opportunity at, but neither one of them, if they feel the ball, is going to get Bogaerts at first, getting down that line. So he picks up the base hit. Red Sox with a base runner with 2 outs.
For David Ortiz, who rested last night. Steps in hitting .321, 9 homers, 29 runs batted in.
A little bit of a cut fastball that time to David. We've seen the straight fastball, the cut fastball, the curveball, and the changeup so far from Surkamp.
Ortiz, one of 6 Red Sox in this lineup, batting over .300. And a high fly into right field, but not very deep. Coming in Reddick, who plays deep anyway. Circling now, and he'll make the play. He had a long way to get there. 1 hit, 1 left after 1. No score, and a gorgeous night at Fenway. For youth baseball and softball teams to be a live studio audience for NESN Clubhouse, visit NESNClubhouse.com. Click on studio audience. Enter your son or daughter's team today. It's a serious game they get going there.
That's a great game of catch with all the baseball they had going. mean, look at that pitch and the quick return by the catcher.
It's a supersonic return.
That's good stuff.
Chris Davis leading off here. He tried to hold up, looked like he went, and he did. No scores. We go to the second inning. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien, Gary Streisky with us as well. As the Sox go for the sweep tonight. Davis a .230 hitter, but he has hit 7 home runs. He's homered 4 times in his last 7 games. He'll be followed by Stephen Vogt and then Billy Butler here for the Oakland A's. They come in at 14 and 20. One-two. He's really piling up strikeouts. He gets his first of the night right there.
Well, the strikeout high on the season for Porcello was 9. He did that against Tampa Bay. This is his first of the night, and it's on a fastball. You can see that Vasquez wanted it up. It wasn't quite that high, but throws it right by Davis, who has struck out a lot. That's 33 times that Davis has struck out so far this season.
Stephen Vogt, the catcher, .252 with 3 home runs. Vogt certainly one of their top offensive players. But in the series, just 2 for 10, and he has struck out 4 times. He goes without the batting gloves. Don't see many of those these days. The 1-0 pitch. That'll miss.
Well, you really don't. You know, most guys wear batting gloves on both hands. Pretty much the same thing when I played. There were very few guys that did not use at least one batting glove.
Porcello's 2-0 ripped up the middle. That almost took Porcello with it. Into center field for a rather solid base hit.
Yeah, that'll certainly get your attention if you're the pitcher. I mean, you got almost no reaction time as this ball is rifled back over the head of Porcello for the base hit. 3 for 7 now is Vogt against Porcello in his career, and Rick goes down a little backflip and then back to his feet. Fortunately, that ball did not get him in the head.
Billy Butler now just .229, but a lot of experience against Porcello in his career. He's been up 52 times against him. He has 19 hits.
Yeah, good success. 365 with a home run.
Vogt's a catcher, so not much of a runner there at first base. And Butler is a double play candidate as he cuts and misses.
Concentrating on keeping those first two pitches inside on Butler, both of them to the inside part of the plate. A lot of movement on this two-seamer too by Porcello, running it back in and underneath the bat of Billy Butler.
Butler 3 for 6 in the series. Swing and a miss, and down he goes, and that was fast. And last one, a 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, that's what Porcello can do. You know, he has the ability to throw the sinking fastball, then throw that fastball that'll just take off up in the zone. And that was a great example. 2 pitches, fastballs that was sinking inside and down. Then he changes his eye level with the fastball upstairs and picks up the strikeout.
Lexus making a pledge to strike out hunger, and for every strikeout by a Red Sox pitcher this season, Lexus donates $50 to the Greater Boston Food Bank. Scoreless here in the second inning. 2 Ks here in the second for Rick Porcello. Going after another one now, and Alonso, who fouls it back. He's a .218 hitter with just 1 home run. He does, however, have a 6-game hitting streak. You mentioned this in the first game of the series, Jerry, that this is one of the more aggressive swinging lineups we've seen this year.
It really is. They don't walk very much. They don't strike out very much. So you know they're up there swinging the bat. And we've seen that in this series.
0-1 line into right field. That's going to be trouble. Betts has to give chase. It'll go all the way to the fence. Vogt rounding third base. They're going to try and score him. Here he comes. Here's the throw home a bit up the line, and the run is in on a double by Alonso. That makes it 1-0 the A's. So he extends his hitting streak to 7 in a row.
He's been swinging the bat very, very well. There you see the off-speed pitch. It looked like a changeup that time from Porcello. Then he gets out and hooks. And hooks it right down along the boards down that right field line. Boat, who was at first base, being waved home. He'll score the first run of the ball game for the Athletics. And they take the 1-0 lead.
That brings up Marcus Semien, their shortstop. He's batting just .213, but has good power. He does have 8 home runs to lead the team. 1-0 Oakland here in the second. Porcello has thrown 5 consecutive quality starts. That ties his own personal best. There's another one that was close. I mean, right there on the borderline of being a strike, and he didn't get the call. It's happened a couple of times early on, and Porcello not thrilled. Alonso at second base and a run in for the A's. And that missed as well. I mean, right there at the top of the strike zone.
Yeah, they're at the top of the strike zone, but it's really not where Porcello wants to operate until he gets 2 strikes. That's a breaking ball that time that was left upstairs. He wants to be down low.
3-0 on Semien.
Anytime you're facing a pitcher like Rick Porcello as a hitter, you're telling yourself to make him get the ball up. He likes to throw that 2-seam and get ground balls.
Now, hitters count for Semien. You don't want to make a mistake with him because he has serious pop in that bat.
8 home runs already on the season.
He only has 23 hits overall, but 8 of them are homers. And a 3-1 pitch and rattle foul. The Student Nines presented by Selfio has returned for the 2016 season. That means high school and college kids pick up tickets for just $9. For tickets and more information, visit redsox.com/students. Rick Porcello looking to get out of the second inning without any more damage. 3-2 foul tip into the mid, and in the end he strikes out 3 men, but he gives up 2 hits and a run. When we come back, Gary Striewski. Oakland in front 1-0. And Gary, last night Ryan Hanigan got stepped on big time.
Yeah, he did. So he deserves a night off tonight. Billy Butler was barreling around third base, and if you ever wanted to be a big league catcher, maybe reconsider after taking a look at this picture. He was taking some early BP, and basically, let's just say, it looked like a big muscly cat picked his fight with his arm. Take a look at that, guys. The bruises, the scratches, all thanks to Billy Butler's cleats. So Hanigan, a deserved night off. He said it was just a little bit sore today. I think he's holding back a little.
Serious battle scars there, but he made a wonderful play as it's fouled away by Hanley Ramirez.
Yeah, he certainly did, and he got a ball that was off to the first base side from Jackie Bradley Jr. Came all the way across, stuck the glove out, and got stepped on, as you can see. And some of those scars may last him the rest of his life. I've got some on my shin from being taken out at second base that are still there.
Wow, that was a while ago, Remdog.
That was a long time ago, Dave.
Hanley hitting .301, 4 homers, 19 runs batted in. What a home run it was last night. Up into that light tower, in there for a strike.
Talk about the sweet spot. I mean, that's exactly where Hanley got that one, and that ball was absolutely mashed out of Fenway.
468 feet, second longest home run in the big leagues this year. I ran into Hanley outside the clubhouse today, and he said, yeah, I've hit a few like that last few years. We shouldn't make that big a deal out of it. I'm like, are you kidding me?
No, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's a big time deal last night.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Chris Young on deck, then Travis Shaw. 1-0 Oakland. And a routine ground ball to Coghlan, the second baseman. 1 away. Chris Young will be next. He's hitting .237, but he had a good night last night, going 3 for 4 with an RBI. So nice to see Chris put some hits together. That hasn't happened very often this season. But he's got a left-hander on the mound in Surkamp, a finesse lefty, doesn't throw very hard. He's a former San Francisco Giants prospect. He missed all of 2012 due to Tommy John surgery, and he's bounced around since then. Surkamp has been with the White Sox and back to the minor leagues, then to the Dodgers, and now with the A's. 1 out, base is empty, and it catches the inside corner.
We've seen 4 pitches, as we mentioned so far. That was the breaking ball that time, the fastball, the cutter, the changeup. Playing him to pull in the infield, not the shift.
Across for a called strike. Mixing in curveballs. Known to have a heavy sinker. And a 1-2 to Young. He hits that one, a bullet, left center field. Burns going back, but it's off the wall, onto the warning track. And Young has come alive here these last couple of days. A double.
Getting some regular at bats, and that makes a world of difference. When you've been sitting around for a while, you get a chance to play. You can see that's a mislocation right there. They want that fastball inside, but it stays to the outside part of the plate, and Young hooks it to the right of the center field of Billy Burns. Off that wall and into second base with the double is Chris Young. So a mislocation. Young getting some frequent at bats now as the Red Sox face some lefties and swinging the bat very well.
Travis Shaw now at .322. 4 homers, 23 runs batted in. Had himself quite a night last night. And that is off him. It's going to be a hit batsman as he went to check his swing and it grazed him. So he will take his base.
Yeah, Vogt saying it hit the bat. So he wants the dugout to take a look at this on video and see if it hit the bat or hit Shaw. Let's see if we can pick it up. No, it looks like it did get Shaw right around where that wristband is.
Yep, and they're not going to challenge it.
That's a good call.
So the Red Sox in business, first and second. One down for Christian Vasquez, who did not play last night. But has reached base in 10 of his last 11 games. And a red hot Jackie Bradley is on deck. Swing and a foul tip for strike one. Surkamp played at NC State for 3 years. He was teammates with Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson while at NC State. The 0-1 and a strike. The fastball sitting around 90, 91. Young after the double at second base. Travis Shaw after the hit Bassman at first base. But 2 strikes on the Sox catcher. Swung on and missed. Down he goes on 3 pitches. He strikes out. So it is up to Jackie Bradley to do something with this inning.
And Vasquez was out taking some extra batting practice over the last couple of days, but did not pay off in that particular at bat. Chased the ball that might have been up and out of the strike zone with the man in scoring position. They wanted it upstairs. They wanted it away, and that's exactly where they got it. So Surkamp hits his spot and picks up a big strikeout.
Jackie steps in with a 16-game hitting streak. It's the longest in the majors right now. Fouls it away for strike one, lifting his average to 310. This greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile, American League batting average leaders with runners in scoring position. And Jackie Bradley Jr. hitting .455, so he is number 2 in the American League. And he is Young at second. Knocked around there by Vogt at home plate, but everyone will stay where they are at first and second.
That's a nice block by Vogt. You know, he keeps at least another man out of scoring position. If they ever able to advance, you got 2 men in scoring position instead of just the one. And you can see the breaking ball will usually come back to the catcher. That time it did. He's able to knock it down and leave those runners at first and second.
Jackie Bradley in his hitting streak, 23 hits and 59 at bats. Got 2 more hits last night. High fly, right center. He drilled it deep. Reddick looks, it's gone. Jackie Bradley with a 3-run blast. How hot is he?
Home run number 5 on the season. RBIs 23, 24, and 25. The lefty against lefty matchup. He gets a cut fastball. And you'll see the location. They want it away. It stays middle of the plate. And Bradley just jumps all over it. That's a pitch that I'm sure as soon as Surkamp let it go, he wanted to take it back and throw it again because he got way too much of home plate.
Like several pitchers lately have had that sensation against Jackie.
Jackie is on fire. I mean, look at those numbers. 5 home runs through the 17-game streak.
Mookie Betts checking his swing, and he did check according to First Base Up. Speedway is proud to be New England's first choice for value and convenience. For every Sox homer this season, Speedway donates $500 to Boston Children's Hospital. Stop by a Speedway store near you, pick up your Speedway rewards card, start earning points today. Red Sox ahead 3-1. Jackie Bradley Jr. clobbering a 3-run homer. 413 feet. A strike on Mookie Betts, who whiffed in the first inning. Now, you'd think a lot of his teammates would be crowding around him, you know, hoping something would rub off, right? There's a ground ball to short, Semien with a backhand, and in time to get him. And that retires the side, but Jackie strikes again. His 5th home run, and now a 17-game hitting streak. 3-1 Red Sox. And if the Red Sox win, Plainridge Park Casino donates $777 to the Relay for Life of Greater Attleboro. And back at Fenway now, Jackie Bradley with a bomb 3-run homer to make it 3-1 over the Oakland A's. And delighted to have Alex Spear of the Boston Globe with us, who is watching Jackie put up one hit after another. He's been hot before. We've seen hot streaks before. How is this different, do you think?
This is different because it is who he was in the minor leagues. It is line to line, literally at times. That ball obviously goes into right center. You know, that's a kind of standard power spot for left-handed hitters. But we saw him pull that ball down the right field line that just got inside of the pesky pole the other night. Earlier in the week, we saw him shoot one straight down the left field line. That's exactly who he was when he kind of put himself on the map in 2012 as, for a time, the best hitter in the minor leagues at the time. I think he was leading all of the minors in average and OBP for a significant portion of that time. A lot of guys from that team that he was with that year, that was the high A Salem Red Sox, are now in the big leagues. Travis Shaw, Xander Bogaerts, Christian Vasquez.
Right.
They all came up together.
Line shot by Coughlin. That's going to drop in for a base hit in front of Young. So that's how the 3rd inning gets underway against Porcello.
And they say that, you know, that Bradley would start every game basically by doubling to the opposite field. This year, he already has more hits to left field than he did all of last year, and he's coming up pretty quickly on matching the number of extra base hits he had in about twice the number of games in the major leagues last year. So we're seeing a guy who's really finding his stroke, who's found a way to translate who he was in the minors at the major league level, and it's obviously exceptional right now.
Alex, you're talking about Jackie going to the opposite field. Seems like it's a trend with the Red Sox. It seems like the whole lineup is having the ability right now to use the whole field.
You're seeing an entire lineup that's managing to hit like crazy. They have 6 guys batting .300 right now, and I do think that there's such an emphasis on the part of all of their conversations in using the entirety of the field. You'll hear Victor Rodriguez, for instance, the assistant hitting coach, talking all the time about use the big part of the field, use the big part of the field. They want to see hitters who are comfortable letting the ball travel, so you're not selling out, you're not attacking too early, and thus kind of leaving yourself vulnerable to swings and misses. I think it started with Hanley in many ways.
Coco dropping down a bunt. Vasquez says he has it off balance. Nicely done there. Down to second. Moves Coughlin on the bunt.
Back-to-back 2 3s from one guy. That's interesting.
That's very unusual. Bunting in that situation, trying to bunt for the base hit again. He was trying to go down the third base line, but this time he goes toward the pitcher. And again, the quick reaction by Christian Vasquez to get out there. He would not be. I mean, he turned around like he was sacrificing, which was kind of strange in a 3-1 ball game right now. So I got to guess he was bunting for a base hit in that situation.
He dropped one down on a 3-1 pitch in the first at bat, and it's on a fastball. You wonder if he's not feeling good, honestly.
They will give him a sacrifice, and here's Burns, who is 0 for 1 with a ground ball to first.
See, that's where I disagree with the scoring there. I don't think that should be a sacrifice. A 3-1 ball game, you're down by 2. You're not trying to get 1 run across at this point. And I don't believe that's a sacrifice at all. But, that's just my opinion.
Jerry and I talked a lot during spring training down at Fort Myers, Alex, about the need for this Red Sox team to be unselfish, to give themselves up occasionally, to move a runner over to third base so the next guy can drive him in. And we've seen a lot more of that in these early weeks of the season. And if you're a baseball fan, if you love the fundamentals of the game and you love that kind of play, you like what you're seeing from the Red Sox.
I think what you're starting to see is a team that cares a lot about the finer details of the game. John Farrell talked about this a little bit before today's game. The kinds of conversations that are happening around the batting cage this year, they're baseball-centric once again. They're talking about game situations. They're talking about specific approaches against specific hitters. One of the things that was extraordinary about that 2013 team, so much is discussed about its chemistry. The chemistry was the fact that it was all focused around baseball. They cared so much about what happened on the field. They were a smarter team than their opponents. They found ways to take the extra 90 feet when it was presented to them. They found ways to have really good approaches against very good pitchers that made the difference in those one-run games. Early, John Farrell has hinted that similar things might be happening here.
Up and away for ball 4, so a rare walk issued by Rick Porcello. That'll put runners at first and second.
I would certainly agree with you, Alex. And the fact is they're scoring a lot of runs, but I call it playing good baseball. It's not just the scoring of the runs. They're moving guys along. They're taking the extra base. They're doing the small things that help you win baseball games. Moving runners from second to third with nobody out. Those are the kind of things that you build upon, and that helps you win games.
The execution has been fantastic. You can see it in things like the stolen base percentage efficiency, where they've only been gunned down 2 times at this point, even though they're at the top of the chain in terms of the number of bases stolen. Even just watching how the infield works together, right. It's seamless at this point, and it is just different. There aren't the kind of glaring things, the glaring divots that seem to just kind of knock them over every game early last year.
Chatting with Alex Spear, the Boston Globe, as the dangerous Josh Reddick gets in. He's 0 for 1 with a pop up to third base. He is 3 for 9 with a home run against Porcello in his career.
It's funny to think about Reddick. I think about him sometimes in the context of a guy like Bradley, because Reddick is someone who came up through their system. They had a very high opinion of as he was coming up, but at the major league level, it was going to take him time to figure things out. And so that contributed, I think, to their willingness to move him in a deal for a guy like Andrew Bailey after the 2011 season, when they said, well, Ryan Sweeney's going to be able to be a more helpful player to us now. Josh Reddick might have more upside down the road. But they kind of made the decision rather early and rather quickly. And Reddick ended up being a force of nature in that 2012 season for the A's, and a very good big leaguer over the course of these 5 years that he's been in Oakland. This time around, they stuck with Bradley. They gave him the opportunities that maybe they didn't give to Reddick after the 2011 season.
The 2-0 pitch, and he's taking it's in there for a called strike. Back to Jackie for just a moment. There was a couple of occasions early in the season when the Red Sox were scuffling, where Jackie would come up with runners in scoring position, the bases loaded, and there was an opportunity, if John Farrell wanted to go that way, to go to a right-hand hitter. He stuck with Jackie Bradley. It didn't work out on a couple of occasions, but how much building of his confidence did that have?
I think it's been significant, and you see that he's really impacting the ball against lefties right now. I think that he's now up to something like 340 against lefties. That was his first home run of the season against them, but 340 with maybe a 400 OBP against lefties right now. To me, one of the more telling signs came last Friday in New York prior to the ninth inning debacle when John Farrell had Chris Young pinch hit for Brock Holt instead of Jackie Bradley Jr. Against Andrew Miller, one of the toughest left-on-left guys in the game, and he trusted Bradley in that moment, even though Brock Holt, his swing works very well against pitchers from who throw both right-handed and left-handed. He stuck with Bradley, and I do think that there have been signals to Bradley that this is your job, and you don't have to look over your shoulder.
Right. That one, Luke foul out of play.
Now you can see in the dugout there, John Farrell moving his infield. They were playing in the shift against Reddick, but when it got to 2 strikes, he wanted them to move back to their normal positions. They're still playing him to pull in the infield, but the fact is they have come out of the shift with 2 strikes as they expect a more defensive swing.
It is incredible the way that shifts situationally, and you see guys running all over the field. One thing I've wondered about is whether or not, if they did implement a pitch clock at the major league level, if it would seriously cut into the number of shifts that they were able to do.
2-2. Thrown behind him. It nearly hit him, and the runners are going to move up to second and third on a big-time wild pitch that almost drilled Reddick. He had to dance out of the way.
Yeah, I believe that was a changeup that time from Porcello. We'll get another look at it and see if it is the off-speed pitch that just got away from him. Now it looks like he's trying to snap off the slider that time, and it goes up under the legs of Reddick, very similar to early in the ball game when Mookie Betts had to get out of the way of a similar pitch.
So to count 3-2, and now 2 men in scoring territory here for Oakland with 1 man out. Little pop-up, foul ground. Shaw has a beat on that and makes the play, and the runners stay put.
Now, there's no question what Porcello wanted to do with Reddick, and that's throw him changeups in that situation with the man in scoring position. He had him off balance on that last one and gets that good result, a little pop-up to third base on it. Then you see the grip on the changeup for Porcello. That ball's going to move down and away from him, and he has to reach across the plate and get it toward the end of the bat.
Reddick is such a good low fastball hitter that's a pitch that he sells really well. Gets it in exactly the zone, but with that little disruption of timing that he was looking for there.
Timing and location.
Now Chris Davis, who whiffed in the second inning. Coghlan and Burns aboard here. Red Sox ahead 3-1 on a Jackie Bradley Jr. home run. That's exactly what Davis had in mind.
Yeah, and this is the kind of guy, you know, he can really hurt you with one swing and make it a 4-3 ball game, or he's certainly a strikeout potential with a couple of men in scoring position.
I believe that he's top 5 in the majors in home runs since last August, but he's also this year leading the majors with the highest rate of swings and misses per swing of anyone in baseball.
Had 27 home runs for Milwaukee last year. There's a line shot for a hit into left field. 1 run is in. They're going to send the trail runner as well as the throw comes into second base. That's going to be a 2-run hit for Davis. And the Oakland A's have fought back to tie up the ball game.
Well, they struck Davis out on a fastball the first time up. They tried the fastball again this time to him, but he's able to take that line drive up over Bogarts' head, and 2 runs come in. Of course, with 2 outs, you're off on contact at second base, so he has no problem scoring. And we've got a tie ball game here at Fenway.
Looks like he's really emphasizing with 2 strikes the 4-seamer today, and hasn't been getting it quite above the zone as much as he usually does. It's been kind of in the upper half of the zone on some of those batters, leaving it a little bit more vulnerable.
He had 2 hits in the innings, also walked a man and uncorked a wild pitch. So it's been a strange inning for him. As Vogt takes one low, here's the snap to first base, but not in time.
We see that a lot. Vasquez loves to throw behind those left-handed hitters. They get a pitch down and in this time, and you'll see that's a good pitch for him to just spin with those quick feet and throw to first, but not quite in time to get the pick off at first base.
He got a guy his first night back, but he has not nailed anyone at first base since then. So you know that got into the report right away.
He used to do that all the time in the minors when that report doesn't really exist. Just left and right, you would see pickoffs by the dozen really for him as he was moving through high A, double A, getting up through Pawtucket.
Yeah, that's one of the first things the opposing team will talk about when they go over the scouting report. Vasquez likes to throw the ball around, especially at first base. So watch your secondary lead.
The 2-0 to vote and a strike.
He actually commits a high number of passed balls, much higher than you would ever expect based on how good his hands are. And I think that part of that is because sometimes he will jump up out of the crouch and try to fire the ball around, and sometimes that might leave him vulnerable to pulling off of it.
2-1 to vote, hammered foul. I asked him the other day where he put the estimation on his arm strength coming back off of Tommy John, and he said about 98%. And Jerry and I were talking about it. I wonder about that. I wonder if maybe he's a little bit more excited about it.
I think there's more in the tank. I really do.
I agree completely. We haven't seen the jaw droppers that he used to drop with such regularity. And I think that throughout this process, he's been very confident about where his arm is, and that's really good for his rehabilitation process. Having the confidence in your arm was a prerequisite for him to be able to make it back to this point. But I don't think that we've seen his arm strength come all the way back yet.
I agree with you, and I think he's going to look at himself 4 months from now and say, "Man, it's back now. It's what it used to be, and maybe even a little bit better." But he feels so good. He probably feels like it's about 90%, 98%, but I honestly believe there's a lot more left, arm strength to be had.
His quickness is really good because he got himself into good shape, and so his footwork can be pretty fast behind the plate. He can get in good position to throw quickly.
Runner goes in a 2-2 and a ground ball to Dustin Pedroia down on a knee, and that will retire the side. Alex, thanks so much for joining us.
Right. Great to see you guys.
Got ourselves a tie ball game, 3-3 at Fenway. On this date in 05, Jason Varitek hit a walk-off home run off Dotel to give the Sox a 6-5 win over the A's. The previous night, Kevin Millar hit a walk-off homer off Dotel, and the Sox would win 3-2 over the Oakland A's. So they got tired of that. And Kevin is here, as we showed you earlier tonight. Always great to see him back in town. Actually, has he ever left?
He gets back here quite often, doesn't it? He loves to be around Fenway Park. He loves to be around David Ortiz. He loves to be around baseball. Yeah, he's looking at himself now. It's not a pretty picture, is it, Kevin?
Now, wait a minute. He's done all right. Here's Dustin Pedroia 0 for 1 as we play the last half of the third inning, a tie game 3-3. Dustin, number 2 in the American League in hits. He has 43 of them. Only Manny Machado with 46 has more. DraftKings is the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of the Red Sox. Experience the thrill of playing at DraftKings right now. Play free daily using the promo code NESSON at DraftKings.com. Bogart's next. And fouled away. It sounded like he cracked his bat. So Pedroia off to get into one. What a beautiful night. Inside the ballpark, 61 degrees right now. Just happy spring is finally here. Here's the 2-1. Pedroia has played in 32 games. He's reached base in 28 of them. The 3-1 from Surkamp. And he's on again. And a start to the third inning for the Red Sox on ball 4.
Well, a great way to stop that little momentum that Oakland has going is score a few of your own here in the bottom of the third, and a good start for the Red Sox to walk to Pedroia. Picks up his 10th walk of the season.
Xander Bogaerts, yet another Red Sox hitter stepping in, hitting well over 300, 323. Had an infield single in the first inning. And that's a strike. A generous call from Alfonso Marquez.
First pitch to Bogaerts. Let's take a look at it. Inside part of the plate, but called a strike. We'd rather have that on the first strike than on the third strike.
Got jammed there, and he fought it off foul.
Cut fastball followed by a straight fastball that time, and it did get on the hands of Bogaerts as he was trying to move that ball to right field.
Xander with a 6-game hitting streak going. And he's hit safely in 18 out of 20. Takes it up high. So we've talked a lot about Jackie's hitting streak now, 17 in a row, and justifiably, but Xander 18 out of 20, and he's hitting over 400 during that span. He's the #1 hitter in the American League over that span of games.
Yeah, just a couple of weeks ago we were talking about, the slow start for Bogaerts, and all of a sudden he just turned it on.
He was one of those guys that John Farrell was not exactly worried about after what he did last year, hitting 320, almost 200 hits. Pedroia runs, swung on and missed. Here's the throw down to second that will not get him, and Dustin Pedroia has it stolen on the swing and a miss for strike 3 on Bogaerts.
A very good jump at first base by Pedroia. Obviously the Red Sox have picked something up, and it's a fairly high leg kick. The swing and miss by Bogaerts, but Pedroia in safely with the head first slide. Dustin picks up his first stolen base of the season. Not a very good throw by Vogt behind the plate either. He's trying to rush the ball.
Red Sox have now stolen 26 out of 28. And here's Ortiz, 0 for 1 with a fly to right. 512 career home runs, indicating a bunt. And his little buddy Maverick shoot. For whom he belted a home run after promising he would on April 29th against the Yankees. And the 1-0. David now in 22nd place on the home run list. He's tied with Ernie Banks and Eddie Matthews, who are both in the Hall of Fame. One out, Pedroia at second. Staying away there. So the big hurt is next, along with Willie McCovey and Ted Williams. And the 3-0. And he walked him. He wanted nothing to do with him there.
Yeah, first base open. He was being very, very careful with David Ortiz and not coming very close to the strike zone. And David knows those situations where first base opens, and he's not going to chase bad pitches just because there's a man in scoring position.
Kurt Young out for a visit, and Tuesday, May 24th is David Ortiz canvas night at Fenway Park. First 15,000 fans will receive a David Ortiz commemorative canvas print, courtesy of Enios. For tickets and more information, visit redsox.com/promos or call 877-RED SOX 9. So an opportunity for Hanley Ramirez to do some damage. Certainly did last night. He's 0 for 1 tonight with a grounder to second. Surkamp getting a little bit wild here. They get action in their pen. Ryan Dull. Certainly feels like Surkamp is on a real short leash in this game. Tied 3-3 here in the third. He tried to check, and he did.
I think what's happening, Dave, is the Red Sox offense is having an effect on how they're managing, because all of a sudden they're coming up with these big innings, and by the time you get somebody in the game, it's almost too late. So they're being prepared tonight by getting somebody loose very early in the ball game here in the third inning in a tie game.
Pedroia at second. Big Papi at first base with one away in a 3-3 tie. And he popped him up. Foul territory. Vogt flips the mask, and he's there to make the play. So 2 down, and Chris Young will be the hitter.
Hanley had a pretty good pitch to work on right there too, and just popped it up. Frustrating at bat for Ramirez. You'll see the location of this pitch. They want to go inside. They get it inside, but it's still for Hanley. That's a pretty good pitch to handle. Instead, he pops it up, and I think he'd like to have that one back again.
Chris Young ripped a double off the left center field wall his first time up, and eventually would score on the Jackie Bradley Jr. home run. Jackie with a 3-run blast in the second inning. The A's would rally to tie, and now the Red Sox have runners at first and second with 2 down for Young. And he lays off ball 1. Surkamp's pitching line is brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. Both of the walks have been in this inning. And the left-hander's 1-0 pitch. That's a ball. Regardless of the uniform that he has worn, Young has liked to hit at Fenway Park. He's a .321 career hitter here. In fact, that was before his double in the second inning. A strike.
Yeah, last time, remember up, they made a mistake on him. They wanted a fastball inside like the last one. Instead, they got it out over the plate, and he hooked that ball into the gap.
Travis Shaw on deck. Red Sox trying to do with 2 here, and the 2-1. That'll miss. Not by much, but a good count for Chris Young now. 3-1. Pedroia at second, Ortiz at first. And a hitter's count. Here it comes. Waved at and missed.
That's a good pitch. It was a changeup on a 3-1 count. Certainly, Chris Young sitting all over the fastball in that situation and does not get it. Gets a very good changeup. Now they'll talk about what they want to throw him on the 3-2 count with the runners off. A couple of outs in the inning.
So all filled up here on Young. 3 hits last night in the Red Sox rout, and he'll ask for time here and get it from Marquez. Red Sox 3, A's 3. And a high fly ball left field. That's carrying back, backing up Davis to the wall. It is high off the green. 1 run is in. Ortiz to third, and the Red Sox have the lead back. A double for Young, his second of the game, and Boston is back in front.
That's a nice job by Chris Young. 2 hits in the game, 2 doubles, and it could have been 2 runs for the Red Sox, except Ortiz was at first base. It's a breaking ball, and he goes right down with it. It's a high fly ball. It's going to scrape that wall. You can see Pedroia off with the pitch, has no problem scoring, but Ortiz has to be stopped at third base.
And here comes Melvin. That one kissing off the green monster. And the Red Sox are in front again, 4-3. And here comes the A's skipper. And that's it for Surkamp. So another quick outing for him and for the Oakland A's. Dull is coming on. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Kia. And we'll be back with more at Fenway in just a moment. Sox Baseball in Nesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By buyatoyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. By the University of Massachusetts, here for a reason. And by your New England Audi dealers. Now the Sox rallying and are back out in front here. Chili Davis working that pad there, and with the new pitcher coming on, getting a scouting report on Ryan Dull, who's been really good against the first hitters he has faced. They're 0 for 15 with a walk against him.
Yeah, what they're able to do is download all the information they have on Dull, and of course hitters are anxious to find out that information and go right to Chili Davis.
Travis Shaw hit by a pitch. He was on board when Bradley smacked his 3-run homer, and now he can do damage with runners at second and third, 2 down. And they bring in a right-hander, and he's been carving right-handers. 376. That's third best in the American League.
Breaking ball last night taken to the opposite field by Travis Shaw for the home run. And now they're going to put Shaw on first base.
That'll load him up for Vasquez. So this will be an intentional pass.
Kind of makes sense here. You got first base open. Why take your chance with Shaw? Has been swinging the bat very well. You got Vasquez coming to the plate, righty against righty.
Christian Vasquez struck out very quickly in the second inning, so he's 0 for 1. So the Red Sox with a man at every base. Ortiz at third, Young at second, Shaw at first. Of course, Vasquez with the 1 home run. That was against Dellin Betances of the Yankees. And he hit it a mile. And Dull misses away for ball 1. So once again, the Red Sox knocking the starter out real fast after 2 2/3. That was it for Surkamp. Same thing last night. And the 1-0 to Vasquez. A swing and a high pop up foul over the top of the Red Sox dugout. The Orioles have already won. They beat up on the hapless Twins today 9-2. So technically have a half game lead over the Red Sox. Minnesota is 8-25. Here's the 1-1. He would not chase. Jackie Bradley hoping to bat in this inning. He's already hit a 3-run homer. Here's the 2-1 from Dull. High fly to right field. Drifting back Reddick. He has plenty of room though. And will make the catch. The Red Sox will leave him loaded, but they do get the go-ahead run and knock the starter out. 4-3 the Red Sox. Extra innings live right after the game. TC and Steve Lyons break it all down. You will hear from Rick Porcello and John Farrell. Whatever, whenever, wherever, who but W.B. Mason. So Porcello has the lead back as we go to the top half of the 4th inning. Dave O'Brien alongside Jerry Remy. Gary Streisky here as well tonight. Porcello has allowed 4 hits. Walked a man. Uncorked a wild pitch last inning. So liner into right off the bat of Butler and right to Mookie as he backpedals for out number 1.
Now Butler, we mentioned he's had good success against Porcello. Put a good at bat against him that time. Line drive, but Mookie Betts just has to go back a couple of steps to make the play, but good solid contact by Butler.
Porcello has been getting pretty good run support. His last home start on April 30th was against the Yankees. That was an 8-0 win. The Sox got 8 for him in his season debut at Toronto, 7 against Tampa Bay, 8 against the Yankees. He did beat Atlanta 1-0 on the 25th of April. That was on a solo home run by Jackie Bradley. That was all he needed in that one. Alonso here, he has doubled in a run to run his hitting streak to 7 straight. And a breaking ball will miss. Red Sox will have David Price on the mound tomorrow night at 7:10 against the Astros' Dallas Keuchel.
That's another close pitch that Porcello didn't get. That one was a little bit outside, but you know, on a generous strike zone, you a lot of times get that pitch. You can see where Vasquez is set up, and he gets it right to the glove, but just a little bit outside.
2-1 to Alonso. Lash foul. Price will go in 4-1, but with that high ERA of 6.75 that has been so troubling. So much talk this week about, have they located the problem, the mechanical issue? I was talking with John Farrell in his office before the game, though, and he said, you know, through the 18 wins last year and all the great pitching of last year, he kind of lived around 92, maybe 93 miles an hour. Into the dirt to make it 3-2.
I think tomorrow's going to be very interesting because they did find, you know, a minor flaw in his delivery to home plate, and we'll see if that makes a difference to him. Sometimes just getting that and seeing what you've done in the past gives you more confidence in what you're doing. We'll find out tomorrow night.
You know, I keep waiting for 95 when he needs it, though. 3-2 pitch. Got under that and golfed a high pop into right. Pedroia out, coming on Betts. Plenty of time for Mookie. And I think, you know, you kind of expect that from your number one, from your ace. When you have to have that big heater to blow a guy away, you'd love to see that from David Price. We take a look at these rocket arms presented by Quicken Loans. Now look at the strikeouts, though. He's at 53 to lead the American League at the moment going into his start tomorrow night.
Hey, a lot of people talk about that put away pitch. You know, it just hasn't been there for him.
I know I've been waiting for it. As Semien takes a strike. It's been there throughout his career. Red Sox have been on the other end of it. And bounced all the way to the backstop. Semien struck out in the second inning. Red Sox with a 4-3 lead here in the fourth. And he got a piece of the breaking ball. That was a slider. Coghlan on deck. Porcello started the game with a 1-2-3 inning. And he runs it inside to make it 2-2.
Yeah, by running that ball inside, he should open up the outside part of the plate for himself with this next pitch. We'll see what they try to do. They double up inside or go away from Semien. Gonna go for a changeup.
Dribbled towards second. Pedroia in, up, over, and got him. And that's a fast inning. He gets him 1-2-3 after allowing 2 runs last inning. Good bounce back frame. Red Sox in the lead over Oakland here as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning, largely because of the man at the plate, Jackie Bradley Jr. with a 3-run homer. For more on JBJ, let's go to Gary.
Guys, he already got his hit out of the way, so I feel safe doing this hit. And Jerry, last night, you've never led me astray, and you certainly didn't start last night when you said there's no way in heck JBJ would be superstitious about his current now 17-game hit streak that he's got going on. I was asking him, and he was like, yeah, no, we could talk about it. But he told me to pump the brakes because he's not quite Jackie DiMaggio yet. I asked him what the longest hit streak he's ever experienced was, whether it was Little League, and he said this is actually it. He said he was a part of a 26-game hit streak with his teammate back in South Carolina, Whit Merrifield, who's in the Royals organization. He says he wants to top that 26 games. Boy, so that way he can brag.
Another one hit hard there, Gary, in a close play, but he got him at first base as Semien fired on to get him. But let's see if John Farrell's going to take a look at that.
That's a heck of a play right there by Semien. That ball's about by him, and he's able to spin and make the throw to first base. Very close play at first. Let's take another look. Does Jackie hit the bag before the ball's in the glove? Not yet. I think he may be out.
Now John getting the word as to whether he will challenge, and the Red Sox will not challenge. He is out at first. Semien really improved defensively at short.
That's a heck of a play because that ball was by him heading into the outfield, and he had a better look at it. You see the ball in the glove of Butler, and then the foot comes on the back for Jackie Bradley Jr.
Semien making 35 errors last year. He's only made a couple this year. Here's Mookie Betts. Mookie has struck out and grounded out to short. As a leadoff hitter, he leads the majors with 87 RBIs since the start of 2015. Across for a called strike. One out here in the bottom of the 4th. Red Sox with a 4-3 lead, trying to sweep the A's. Astros coming in for 4 games. Now tomorrow night, Tom Caron will be at the play-by-play microphone working with Jerry. And I'm delighted to say that I'll go down and see my oldest daughter Samantha graduate from the University of Georgia. And that's the reason I'll be missing tomorrow's telecast and be back with Jerry on Friday.
That's going to be a great day for you tomorrow. Enjoy every second of it.
Thanks. Very proud of her. We'll miss you, but you're in good hands with a great Tom Caron. There's a line shot into left center field for a base hit. So Mookie on, and he is 7 for 7 in stolen bases.
Now we saw Pedroia run earlier in the ball game. We'll see if Betts takes that chance now with 1 out in the inning.
Pedroia walked. He did steal a base last inning and came around to score. He is also grounded out to third base. One of the 6 Red Sox hitting over 300 in this lineup. He takes a called strike.
And try to pick up things on pitches, on moves, you know, to home plate. And it looks to me after that, just that one move to home plate, that Dell kind of leans in that direction, a little bit of a lean before he makes his delivery. And that's something a base runner can pick up on.
As a base stealer, did you know it before the game, or did you have to see the guy?
Well, it's always better when you're over there, you know, seeing the guy. Now they have the advantage today of looking at video of pitches, so they already have a pretty good idea before going in there. But until you're that close to him, and that's when it really makes a difference. But you see how he leans a little bit?
There's a high deep drive into left field. That's carrying. Up it goes toward the top of the wall and got out of here. That is a home run. Dustin Pedroia with number 6. He got it into the monster seats. The Red Sox expand the lead to 6-3. Boy, he's been on a home run tear.
Well, let's just say there was no need for Mookie Betts to steal. Pedroia leaned on this breaking ball. It just stayed middle of the plate. And he takes it out of the ballpark for the home run. That is a flat breaking ball right there, and Dustin jumped all over it, made him pay for it.
Oh, the look of disdain there by the fan. He's just heartbroken.
No, he had it right in his hands and dropped back on the field.
Oh, what an awful feeling. What a great feeling for Dustin Pedroia. Red Sox up 6-3 as Xander Bogaerts swings away. He's gone 1 for 2. So Pedroia has now hit safely in 17 straight against the Oakland A's. Fouled back by Xander.
Well, it's his hometown team, right? The Oakland A's. I mean, he's from that area. Every time we go to Oakland, Dustin's family is always out there enjoying watching him play. So always good to have success against your local club.
0-2 to Bogaerts, and it's down into the dirt. David Ortiz on deck. So once again, the Red Sox are scoring for Porcello. Red Sox now with 26 home runs in the last 16 games. You figured it would come, that power. It was pretty quiet early.
Yeah, for a while the Red Sox were last in the league in home runs.
1-2 up the middle. That skips through for a base hit. Second single of the ball game for Xander Bogaerts. The Red Sox are maybe about to put together another huge inning here. We'll see, with David Ortiz striding toward home plate.
Well, that's what they have been doing in this series against Oakland. They have been putting together big innings and putting them away fairly early in ball games.
Ortiz in this one 0 for 1 with a walk. He is flying to right. Ortiz has 23 extra base hits for the season. That's the most he's ever had through 33 games. And of course 9 of them are homers. So the Red Sox ahead, and little Maverick is loving every minute of it. There goes the runner. Little pop-up into right, racing out Coughlin. He won't get it. Xander Bogaerts to third as he takes the turn. David dunks in a base hit. That's 4 consecutive hits for the Red Sox.
Now that's surprising to see Bogaerts take off at first base with Ortiz at the plate, but he made a very good read. You know, when you take off like that and you get a bloop, it's always wise to keep running, because if the ball's caught, you're going to get doubled off first base anyway. That ball really got inside and jammed Ortiz, and he just finds some green grass out there for the base hit. Bogaerts, who was off with the pitch, as we look at the reaction right there, everybody's happy. But you might as well keep going, because if you stop, you're going to get doubled up anyway. So just keep going to third base, and that's exactly what Bogaerts did. Good base running.
So Red Sox on the corners. Only 1 down, and Hanley Ramirez will be the batter. Kurt Young with another mound visit. Hanley has grounded out and popped up. But he's been on base in 17 consecutive games. That's his longest since a 36-game streak in 2013 when he was a Dodger. But right now, thinking about driving in another run. 1 away. And across for a called strike. Zepchinski is up, or as Jerry calls him,
Mark. Mark's loosening up.
The 0-1. Red Sox with 3 runs in the second, run in the third, and 2 more so far in this inning on the Dustin Pedroia 2-run homer. And Boston could put a giant hurt on the A's right here. The 1-1 pitch. Lashed foul. Time now to see who's been driving the ball, presented by Toyo Tires. Hanley Ramirez, last 17 games, hitting .333 with 12 RBIs. Toyo Tires, the official tire of the Boston Red Sox. One and two on Hanley. Bogarts and Ortiz both singled. Here's the 1-2. And a strike over the inside edge. According to home plate ump Marquez. So down goes Hanley. He's 0 for 3.
That's a little bit inconsistent there, making that call, because there's been pitches inside like that have not been called strikes. This time it is a strike. So a little bit of inconsistency from Marquez behind the plate on that particular pitch.
No doubt. Sends up Chris Young, who has doubled 2 times. He drove in a run the last time. He's now up to 275. Looking for his first home run. This would be a great spot. Red Sox leading 6-3. That's another inside strike. And the 0-1 to Young. A ball and a strike on the number 6 hitter. He's looked like a different guy now that he's had a chance to get a run of at bats, doesn't he?
Well, it's tough, to sit on the bench for a long period of time, not get many at bats, have them just sprinkled in here and there, and then you get that. You get accustomed to that everyday work, and you certainly feel a little bit better about things and different about things. Your timing comes back to you a little bit. And being a bench player or a part-time player is very, very difficult, because you can go sometimes 3 or 4 days without getting in the lineup, and you're not seeing live pitching.
He has 5 hits in these last 2 games. He trails in the count here, 1-2, 2 out, 2 on. And that is strike 3 over the inside corner to retire the side. But the Red Sox grab a couple of runs as Dustin Pedroia knocks one barely into the monster seats for a 2-run shot, and the Red Sox lead 6-3. moment honoring the 1986 Red Sox season. In game number 34, the Red Sox would lose 4-1 to the Rangers. Jose Guzman pitching a complete game. He got the win for Texas. Here it is, the top half of the 5th inning. Red Sox with a 6-3 lead, and once again beating up on the Oakland A's. Red Sox tonight with a pair of home runs, one by Jackie Bradley and the latest by Dustin Pedroia. I don't know about you, I'm just heartbroken by that poor guy up there, dropped that ball, and I don't think everybody is. A lot of folks at home are going, well, I would have caught it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Right in your kitchen, you know. But he dropped it, and down it went to the warning track.
That's very embarrassing, too. At least he tried with 2 hands, which is a good sign, but still couldn't control it.
Coghlan is 1 for 1. He has singled and scored a run. Porcello looking to build on a 1-2-3 4th inning.
Take a look at the effort out there, and it is a 2-handed attempt. It rolled to around his chest area, then bounced back on the field, and he can't believe it.
I said we feel lousy for him, and of course we play it again immediately.
Yeah, right now somebody's telling him too that, you know, you're on TV and you just dropped a Justin Pedroia home run. So he's getting, you know, texts and all kind of stuff right now. Very embarrassing. Very, very embarrassing. Maybe if he had his sunglasses down, he would have made the play.
You've made him feel worse. You have managed to make him feel worse.
Well, I don't think that's possible. I mean, yeah, you had both hands out. You should have had it. Yeah, I had it right there, and then of course it bounced off my chest and back on the field. Why couldn't have gone over there to the wall? I would have had one.
Slap to the right side, and Pedroia will dig it out. Coghlan retired, 1 away. MLB.TV Premium is everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams in true high definition on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. Here's Coco Crisp. Twice he's attempted to bunt. One of them was ruled a sacrifice. Sox fans may recall Coco's real first name is Covelli. But as a youngster, his great-grandmother called him Co. His sister made it Coco after the character on the Cocoa Krispies cereal box. And now in his 14th year in the majors, nobody ever calls him Covelli anymore. Billy Burns on deck. Red Sox ahead 6-3. And he asks for time and gets it.
Rick shook off about 3 signs. He wants to cut fastball. That's what they'll probably go back to, cut fastball inside.
Fouled back 0-2.
There's the break, the cut fastball that didn't quite get in as far as Porcello would have liked, but still got the foul ball.
Now Porcello has raved about working with Vasquez.
Back inside with the fastball.
Too much. 1-2.
Let's see if they're on the same page with this decision. Nope. Wants to go back in. No. Let's see. He shook off the cut fastball inside. Now he wants to change up.
2-2.
And catches and pitches are not always on the same page, even though a pitcher may be pitching well. He's got something in mind that he has with conviction in. This time overthrowing the changeup a little bit. They agree on this one, a changeup.
Popped into left center field, coming on Young, plenty of time, and they're 2 down. Burns is next. Ace Ticket, Boston's trusted source for Red Sox tickets, has the best seats at the lowest prices, all with a 200% guarantee. Treat yourself or someone special by visiting aceticket.com or by calling 1-800-MY-SEATS. Red Sox up 6-3. And the bases are empty. Billy Burns likes to bunt. He has grounded out to first and walked and scored a run. And Shaw, the third baseman, is in close.
And we mentioned this before. A lot of times a guy like Burns, you know, with 2 outs, you want the guy swinging it back, try to hit a double, get in scoring position. But with a guy like Burns, he can turn a bunt single into a double by stealing a base. He's got that kind of speed.
Breaking ball around the plate. 1-1. Now Porcello now at 81 pitches. Toward right field, dropping, and that'll fall in for a base hit. So Burns is on for the second time, and that will get the inning to Josh Reddick, who overall is their best hitter. He's 0 for 2 so far tonight.
Yeah, Burns got the curveball that time, and it's got like a slight uppercut swing, which is a little bit unusual for a guy that has great speed like he does. A lot of times those guys will hit the ball on the ground a lot, but Burns with a slight uppercut swing gets that curveball, lifts it on the line in the right field for the base hit.
Reddick will step in, having hit safely in 6 in a row. There are 2 out. Red Sox with a 3-run lead. And he'll take ball 1.
Red Sox do go into the shift with the count 1 ball, no strikes. Now they'll have the 3 men on the right side of the infield. Remember last time when they got 2 strikes on Reddick, they went back to the other way, put the Bogarts back on the shortstop side.
He works away again for ball 2. Reddick has seen a steady diet of changeups too in his first couple of at-bats. Chris Davis on deck. Burns at first. The 2-0. And that finds the mark for a strike.
I see Butterfield making the switch, but there's no switch.
Nothing happened, Jerry.
Maybe he was telling him if it hit 2 strikes to make the switch. We'll see.
2-1 outside. I mean, usually with a whistle. And now the switch will occur.
That's what they're trying to do, trying to get Shaw in the 3-1 count now. Actually, they were trying to do it on the 2-1 count, get him in that position. The bunt is off the table in their mind. So Bogarts goes back to shortstop. So Travis Shaw moves, changes places with Xander Bogarts with the count in Reddick's favor.
Porcello with a 3-1. And couldn't get him to offer, and that is outside. A fastball missing for ball 4. So that'll put him on at first and second. Porcello has not been as sharp as we've seen him in past outings tonight. He's walked 2 men now. And 2 aboard for Chris Davis. Now in the bottom of the 5th inning, look who Gary Streisky has found and will interview a fan who dropped the ball.
Now this will be interesting. I hope he doesn't have excuses. You know, it's like when the reporters come to you after a game and you had a bad game. The best thing to do is just say, look, I stunk. There's nothing else to ask, right?
Sure.
We'll see what he has to say.
Say, I just stunk. Home run cut by Davis for strike 1.
Yeah, what's Gary going to come back with after he says that? If he says that, you know, there's really nothing to pop back with.
Come back with, you stunk.
Yeah, I mean, how bad did you stink? You know, I really stunk.
I'm with you. I hope he does not have an excuse, because it was right there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Might be a better story to drop it in front of 32,000 people and get interviewed on Nesson.
Of course, we're only kidding with him right now, because if a ball came in our direction, we'd both be ducking.
Well, I've already done it this season. The 1-1, and that one gets him. That drills Davis. That was on a changeup, but that's going to load up the bases. It's been a strange night for him.
Yeah, it really has. He hasn't been able to really get into a flow in this game. He had a 1-2-3 first inning, a 1-2-3 fourth, but scattered in between. There have been some base runners, and it just doesn't seem to be coming easy for Porcello tonight. He's got to work hard at it. They have to work hard all the time, but I mean, it's exceptionally tough tonight, it seems.
They walked a man in the third. He uncorked a wild pitch. Got through the fourth inning, 1-2-3. Looked like he was on his way with the 6 runs, but in this inning, a single, a walk, and now a hit batsman.
Yeah, bullpen's going to come into play too because he's got 90 pitches already in the game.
Rick Porcello's pitching line brought to you by Ace Ticket. 4 2/3, 5 hits, 3 earned. But trouble right now facing one of their best hitters in the catcher, Stephen Vogt, an all-star last year. He has singled and grounded out to second. And the bases are jammed. And he grounds that one foul for strike 1. And the Red Sox bullpen starts to move around. That is Tommy Lane heading for the hill.
And no surprise to see a lefty get up at this stage of the ball game with all the lefties they have in the lineup.
Vogt 1 for 2 with a single. He does have 2 career grand slams. And he takes one just inside. Now, at times the corner has been there and plus a couple inches. Other times it hasn't been.
That's a good pitch by Porcello. I mean, he's got to have that pitch. It's happened to him a couple of times tonight where he's thrown the ball exactly where he wants to, down in the zone, but he's not getting the call. And you see that little extra look in by Porcello after receiving that ball from Vasquez.
1-1. Foul tipped at the plate on a curveball. So the count 1-2 now on Vogt. He is 1 strike away from getting out of this jam. If he can put away Vogt. Burns, Reddick, and Davis on the bases. Here's the 1-2 pitch. 2-2.
Tried to change his eye level there. He had the curveball on the previous pitch that was down. He tries to go upstairs with the fastball, but missing too high.
Biggest moment of the game, obviously, for Rick Porcello here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, bases loaded, 2 out. Line drive, but foul. He hooked it.
A lot of times when a guy's out in front of a fastball by that much, you'll see a pitcher come back with a changeup on the next pitch. Let's see if that happens here with Porcello.
All loaded up. Red Sox ahead 6-3. The 2-2 again. Ground ball to Pedroia to his right. He'll go to first base, and Porcello gets out of the inning. Boy, he made a big pitch. A big pitch to leave him loaded. We'll talk to that guy when we come back. Iced coffee season is in high gear. Don't overpay for your iced coffee. Get a large iced coffee at Cumberland Farms for only 99 cents every day, anytime. And let's go to the top of the monster here with Gary.
Guys, I'm here with my dude, Matt. He drove all the way down with his whole family from Rhode Island. Matt, dude, what happened?
Technique was off. Got a little, closed the eyes. I thought I could bring it in easily. I should have played off the chest.
I mean, you literally did not have to move. Jerry and OB were critiquing the technique because you literally could have just absorbed that ball.
Yeah, I could have. I could have done a million things, but, you know, bad. It's bad on Jerry. You know, I owe Jerry an apology. That was terrible. That's on me.
No, Gary.
Jerry, I'm sorry.
Gary, he doesn't have to apologize. I mean, he made a terrific effort after that.
Jerry says you don't have to apologize because he appreciates the effort.
The effort was not. The next one I got for Jerry. The next one, right here. I'll bring it in. I'll bring it in right through the chest.
I don't know if you can expect a next one. That's like a once-in-a-lifetime thing, Matt. But it will live in infamy forever and ever and ever.
Ever and ever. The next one I got right here. Next one.
Game's still kind of early. Jerry will be back to you guys. He's sorry.
Right,
Gary, thank you. Matt, thank you very much. I think he's legitimately sorry.
Yeah, he feels bad. He really does.
Base hit for Travis Shaw. He's on board for the third time. And that'll send up Christian Vasquez, who was struck out and flied out. Red Sox ahead 6-3. That was on the Dustin Pedroia home run that Matt did not make the play. Pedroia with one of 2 home runs by the Sox tonight, the other by Jackie Bradley. A 3-run shot for Jackie in the second inning. Runner goes. Vogt's throw. Not even close. Travis Shaw with the theft.
That was very strange. I mean, nobody's covering the bag at all. See Shaw taking off. Now you wonder if that might have been a missed hit and run. The pitch was way outside, so there really was not a need for Vasquez to swing at it. And there's nobody covering second base. So confusion between the middle infielders there on coverage, as second base was wide open. So a nice easy steal that time for Travis Shaw.
His third of the season. He's been caught once. Lined into center field for a base hit. Charged by Burns. Shaw will stop at third base. And the Red Sox have something going on again. First and third, nobody out here in the 5th inning. In front of the red-hot Jackie Bradley.
Well, that's the kind of results you want. You know, Vasquez, as we mentioned, has been taking a lot of extra hitting prior to the ball game on the field, and it's nice to get results after you do that. You feel good, the coach feels good. Line shot up the middle that time by Vasquez. Hit so hard that you can see where Burns is playing. He charges it, and really no chance for Travis Shaw to score on that.
Once again, the Red Sox have reached 10 hits in a game, and it's only the 5th inning. A strike to Jackie Bradley, who's belted a 3-run homer and grounded to short. He is 6 for 11 in the series. Ran his hitting streak to 17 in a row with the home run. So he got it out of the way right away. The 0-1. Flied into center field. Racing back. Burns still going back on the track. Lunges. He can't get it. Oh, he misplayed that ball. Here comes Shaw in to score. Vasquez all the way down to third base and into second. Jackie Bradley. Burns didn't exactly take off like a shot, did he?
No, he did not. I think he misread that ball off contact because he was kind of gliding back after it, and it ends up over his head. I think everybody thought that he was going to catch up to this with his speed. It was hit high enough, but right there you can see the ball reach over his glove.
And then a skip and up against the fence, and 2 bases for JBJ and another RBI.
Well, very impressive, Bradley. The home run against a left-hander, the double, the drive in a run against a left-hander.
Red Sox ahead 7-3. Triggs is coming in. Zebchinski is out, and the Red Sox are up by 4. Nelson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Red Sox surging again offensively. They lead at 7-3. Once again, the A's have to dip into the bullpen for the right-hander Andrew Triggs, who was recalled from AAA Nashville just yesterday for the 4th time this year.
Infield brought in by the Athletics, not all the way in, but certainly enough to hold Vasquez at third base.
Second and third, nobody out. And Betts, who has gone 1 for 3, takes ball 1. He singled his last time up. Red Sox exploding in this series for 34 runs already, and that's in there for a strike. Jackie Bradley with a run-scoring double. He's driven in 4 runs in this game. And Mookie maybe a base hit away here from driving in a couple, possibly. Here's the 1-1. High chopper on the infield. Semien took a look at him and go to first. Close play, safe, and a run scores. An infield single, and the Red Sox lead it 8-3.
First of all, that is a very, very good read at third base by Christian Vasquez. He was not going on contact, but when he saw the ball bounce high in the air, that's when he took off. Now watch that read. He reads the high bounce, and that is an excellent base running play. And all that time, by the time Semien took a look toward home plate, that allowed Mookie Betts to be safe at first base. That's just real good base running right there. Looks like they're going to take a look at the play at first base to see if Betts was out, but I'm going back to Vasquez for a second because, you know, with nobody out, Dave, they're unlikely to put the contact play on.
I wonder about that one. They are going to take a look. The challenge in effect.
But there's Vasquez. Look at him. He's not going on contact. But as soon as he reads that high bounce, he knows the shortstop is not going to have a chance at him at home plate, and he takes off. That is excellent base running on his part. Looks like they've got a decision already at first base.
And he is out. So Betts is retired and no base hit there.
That's a good call. They got that ball's definitely in the glove of Butler before Betts hits first base, but the Red Sox do get the run out of it.
And he does get the RBI out of it. The infield in. Now 1 away. Jackie Bradley down to third base, and Dustin Pedroia working on another big night. He's belted a 2-run homer. He scored twice. And the Red Sox leading 8-3. And Matt wants another chance. He's ready this time. He looks very confident.
Looks like Tom Cruise.
Well, you've gone a little too far there. Swung on and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. He looks like Tom Cruise's younger brother. Just dying for another chance.
Wouldn't it be something if he got one?
It would be something. If he gets another chance and he drops it again, they need to escort him to his car. Trickled on the infield, a runner trying to score. Here's the pitcher throwing to the plate, the tag, and he is out at home. Jackie Bradley cut down, trying to score there, and that's on number 2.
Okay, let me try to explain this now. With nobody out, generally you don't play contact because you got a chance for a big inning. So with 1 out, that chance decreases, and a lot of times you will see contact put on. By contact, I mean as soon as the base runner reads ground ball, he takes off. Now, unfortunately for Jackie Bradley, it's the pitcher who made that play. There's nothing he can do about that. He can't stop. But that's why a lot of times with nobody out, you do not see the contact play. With 1 out, because there's less of a chance of a big inning, you do see it, depending on who the base runner is and who the hitter is.
Xander Bogaerts takes a pitch outside. He has singled twice tonight and struck out. Batting clip up to 326. Red Sox with a 5-run lead over the A's. And 11 hits for Boston. It feels like every night the Red Sox have at least 10 hits.
Well, they have really been on target swinging the bat.
Two out, Pedroia, who has stolen a base tonight, leading at first base.
That's a tough breaking ball to pick up because he kind of drops down 3/4 and it's a big slurve. You can see Bogaerts reads that ball inside. By the time he swings at it, the ball's on the outside part of the plate, off the plate.
Red Sox playing their 34th game tonight. 21 times now they've had 10 or more hits. Check swing and a pitch in the dirt. Nice block there by Vogt.
Boy, and Triggs is really staying with the same pitch, isn't he? Everything down and away from Bogaerts.
Two and two, 2 out, and 2 more runs in for the Sox. And Triggs delivers to the third baseman. Sliding stab. Alonso had trouble getting out of the glove, and he will have no play. And the inning is still cooking here for David Ortiz.
Oh, that's big because that gives Ortiz a chance to come to the plate with a couple of base runners. Now he goes into the dive. If he comes up quickly and gets this to first base, he may have him. Once he double clutches, he's got no chance. He just couldn't get the ball out of his glove. He makes a nice play there, gets up, but when he reaches in, he can't grab the baseball right away. And that's going to cost him at first base. So that's huge. That gives Ortiz a chance with 2 men on.
That's a base hit for Xander Bogaerts, his 3rd of the game. He's 3 for 4. 2 of them of the infield variety. And here's Big Papi, 1 for 2 with a single. 12 hits now for Boston. David hitting .325, 9 homers, 29 runs batted in. Chance for more. Triggs with a 1-0. Oh, he went for it there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Challenge time. Fastball against a good fastball hitter. And Triggs wins that particular encounter.
The 1-1 to Big Papi. And he got a piece of it. Now 1-2. And the Red Sox with 16 hits last night to match a season high. They're making a run at that. We're only in the 5th inning. And they have a dozen. So many guys in this lineup are locked in. The 1-2. Win tonight would be 4 straight for the Red Sox, would give them a 3-game sweep of the Oakland A's, and the scuffling Astros are in for 4 games tomorrow night. Game 1, David Price against Dallas Keuchel. Check swing, and that's low for ball 3. The Astros are going to be tired, Jerry, because they played 16 innings today.
Wow. And a pretty long trip, right?
Yes, from Cleveland. From Houston, taking on Cleveland today, and they won that game.
Well, 3-2 count. Runners will be off, so anything in a gap, Bogaerts has a chance to score from first base. Outfield very deep, especially in right field for Josh Reddick.
First and second. 2 out and a 3-2 pitch for David. And he let it go outside for ball 4. And the bases are loaded up for Hanley Ramirez. And he will become the 8th Red Sox hitter here in the 5th. Go back to his home run swing of last night. 2nd longest home run hit in the majors this year.
That's one you can watch over and over again and not get tired of it.
Well, let's see what he does right here with 2 down. Line shot into the alley. Nobody out there. It's all the way to the fence. 1 run in. Here comes Bogarts. And down to third base, David Ortiz. That was a bullet.
You know, I've said this over and over, and people say, what are you talking about? But I've told you that Hanley Ramirez hits the ball harder than anybody on the Red Sox team. If you watch him in batting practice, you see it, and you'll see it in games. I mean, that is a bullet he puts in that gap in left center field. David Ortiz has to stop at third base. He picks on the first pitch fastball. That's going to be out over the plate. Or maybe it might have been a breaking ball, 83 miles an hour. Regardless, Hanley's all over it and drives in a couple of runs.
Red Sox ahead 10-3. They hit double digits in runs again for the 3rd consecutive game. And here's Young with runners at 2nd and 3rd. He's already had a good night with a pair of doubles and an RBI. And he is the 9th man to hit in the inning. The Red Sox have scored 37 runs in this series so far. Zach Neal, the right-hander, loosens in their bullpen. So it's Ortiz at 3rd and Ramirez at 2nd, and the merry-go-round continues for the Red Sox. High fly ball into left field, but it hangs up. Davis is underneath, and that will retire the side. But the Red Sox get 4 more runs, and they open up another big lead, 10-3 in the 5th. Pennant fever is going on right now. Jordan's Furniture. If the Sox and the Yankees meet in the League Championship Series for the pennant, you could win free furniture and mattresses. It's Pennant fever going on right now. We are on to the 6th inning. The Red Sox have busted it open once again, and they lead 10-3 in their bid to sweep Oakland. The Red Sox do have activity in the bullpen as Butler hits that one, and the throw here is going to be on target. Bogarts with a wonderful play from shortstop.
Isn't that pretty to watch? I mean, it really is. The way you make that catch on the backhand all in one motion. The jump throw to first base and right on target. That's a beautiful thing to watch. And Hanley with the snatch catch over at first base to kind of put a exclamation point on the play.
It's styling.
You know, actually, Xander probably had time to stop and throw because Butler was running, but momentum was carrying him so far to the outfield, he felt like he had to jump and throw it.
Yonder Alonso, the batter, he's doubled and fly to right. And Barnes loosening in the pen. Oakland with 3 runs, 5 hits against Porcello. And the 1-0 is right through there.
You know, I want to go back to that Hanley catch at first base because that is a perfect example, in my opinion, how the Red Sox right now feel about themselves. You know what I mean? I mean, they're doing it offensively. They're doing it defensively.
Ground ball to first. Another nice play. Underhand toss to Porcello. 2 up and 2 down. Time for a game break, brought to you by Jordan's, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Here's TC. Tom, thank you very much. Here's Marcus Semien as he takes one low. Such a smooth play at first base there by Hanley Ramirez moments ago for the 2nd out of the inning.
That's the play I was talking about, where you know your defensive mate makes a good play and you kind of put a little flair on the catch at first base. You know, you can tell they're feeling good about things.
Popped up foul. It's going to go over the top of the netting.
And then it became Hanley's chance at first base as he takes a base hit away. Going to his right, he gets the in-between hop, which is not an easy hop to play, and gets it over to Porcello covering first base. So everything going the Red Sox way.
The Sox trying to push it tonight to 8 games over 500 for the first time in 2016. Semien 0 for 2. 10-3 Boston in the 6th inning. And that is in there for strike 3. Well, you are right. Everything coming together tonight. Down they go in order. Red Sox with a 7-run lead. Donuts franchises are proud to give back to the communities in which they live and work, and thousands of kids have had the chance to catch a free Sox game thanks to Dunkin' Donuts. Tonight we welcome the YMCA of the North Shore to historic Fenway Park. Dunkin' Donuts, committed to the community. And a new pitcher on the bump here for the Oakland A's. They've had a slew of them in this series. This will be Zach Neal, who was released by Miami on the 23rd of March and scooped up as a minor league free agent just 2 days later by the Oakland A's, and just brought him up today from AAA Nashville. And he is making his major league debut as that one is fouled away by Travis Shaw. Travis on the night has been on base 3 times, hit by a pitch. He's been walked, and he is singled.
Well, they've been the Athletics been spending some money on travel to get these players in and out. Been a lot of guys come in and out of this series.
Fouled away. Did the A's have to leave? Got Houston coming in next.
Yeah, you hear that one all the time, right? Close the airport, or
yeah.
You know,
Right.
I don't particularly like that. Right?
Well, new opponent. 4 games with the Astros beginning on Thursday, and they have issues of their own. High twisting fly to left center field. Burns and Davis there, and the left fielder Davis makes the grab. Mentioned a long game they played today back home in Houston. You know, there's 7 or 8 games under 500. They've had a disappointing start. We talked about Minnesota losing again today, now 8-25. Among the teams have really had a dreadful start. So is Atlanta, of course. One man out. Here's Christian Vasquez. He's gone 1 for 3 with a single. He was part of the 4-run uprising the Red Sox had in the 5th inning. So more crooked numbers. They had 3 in the 2nd. A run in the 3rd, 2 more in the 4th inning. And the runs just keep on coming for the Red Sox. They took care of the starter Surkamp after 2 2/3 innings.
You know, I mentioned Vasquez taking some extra batting practice on the field, and it wasn't actually batting practice. It was that flip drill that we see the players take all the time, where a coach puts up a screen, he stands behind the screen, flips the ball underhand to the hitter, and they were able to move the ball around the ballpark. Vasquez was doing it the other day on the field. Most guys will do it in the cage, but Vasquez
lined into right field. Well, it has taken root, that's for sure. Down the line into the corner. He wants 2 bases, and he'll get it. A stand-up double. He's had some nice swings tonight.
Yeah, you know, getting back to the extra work that he put in, and which the players appreciate, is the fact that, you know, when he's on the field, he can see where the ball goes. When you're in the cage, you're not exactly sure, you know, where you've hit it, where you didn't. That's why he likes to take it on the field. It's a universal drill that almost every major league ball player does. And what drives me nuts is I see sometimes at the lower levels of coaches going to the side. They're actually throwing it to the side of the player. It doesn't make sense to me, because who pitches from the side? Nobody. I mean, the ball doesn't come to you from home, the first base dugout or third base dugout. It comes to you from the pitcher's mound.
Right.
So, you know, obviously most of the players, majority of the players, almost all of them, take it straight on like it would be from a pitcher. So if you're coaching young kids out there, forget that side drill. I don't know what purpose that proves to anybody.
That is odd. Jackie Bradley has had another good night. He's driven in 4 runs this evening.
You know, unless we have a rule change where pitchers start throwing from the dugout, then I would suggest that.
Your mind works in some unusual ways.
It does. You've noticed, Dave?
I'm beginning to find this out now.
Yeah, it really does.
34, 35 games into the season. The 0-2 pitch, and a little too high.
But do you get what I'm talking about, though?
Absolutely. You're right.
There's Bradley's home run and a breaking ball right there. A 3-run shot back in the second inning. He's having another big night tonight for the Red Sox.
3-run homer, a run-scoring double over the head of Burns. A wave and a miss there. That one gets away from Vogt. He'll have to scoop and fire, and he gets him. Vasquez holding at second base. That's something I've wondered about for a long time when I've seen that drill. Like, what are we doing that for?
Makes no sense to me. I see it all the time, you know, with especially little league kids, and even sometimes as high as the high school or college level, and I just never quite understood that. I have not yet found a pitcher who throws from that angle, and so it only makes sense to me to throw directly on. But you got to be behind a screen, of course, so you're going to get your lunch.
There are a lot of things in baseball that are done, you know, for 100 years, and you're like, huh?
Yeah.
Someone should question them.
Yeah. Why?
There's Mookie Betts, 2 down. Red Sox ahead 10-3. If you're just joining us, the Red Sox with 3 runs in the second inning on a Jackie Bradley home run. Dustin Pedroia hit one in the fourth inning, a 2-run shot up into the monster seats. And the Sox have piled up 14 hits. So they're closing in on last night's 16 hits, which matched the season high. And Mookie Betts with an opportunity to drive in his second run. He's gone 2 for 4. Actually 1 for 4. That was overturned, that base hit his last time up. And he has scored a run. And the Sox have out hit the A's 14-5. Vasquez after the double at second base, 2 down. And that one is off the mitt. It'll go to the backstop. And up 90 feet, Vasquez down to third. Stay tuned for Red Sox Final presented by Plainridge Park Casino. TC and Steve Lyons will preview tomorrow's pitching matchup. That's between David Price and Dallas Keuchel, plus highlights from around the American League East. Got jammed there, but he fought it off foul. One and 2 on Mookie here in the 6th inning. Up the middle, base hit. Vasquez scores. 11-3 Boston.
Mookie gets another multiple hit game. He's starting to heat up like the rest of his teammates. Picks up RBI number 21 on the season as he drives that breaking ball up the middle. A little bit of a flat breaking ball that stays inside, and Betts with the base hit with 2 outs to drive in a run.
Dustin Pedroia already with a couple of RBIs tonight on the home run. And the first one to Pedroia is across for a strike. I think the upset of the night is so far the one inning the Red Sox have not scored in is the first inning, where they have been so effective. It's been their biggest scoring inning of the season, but got 3 in the second thanks to Jackie Bradley. High fly down the right field line. That one heading toward the pole and sinking foul into the seats.
Yeah, and they've had innings too recently where they're putting up those crooked numbers. I mean, it's not, you know, a lot of 1s and 0s on that scoreboard for the Red Sox. It's a lot of 3s and 4s. And here's the shot by Pedroia, that coming back in the 4th inning off a breaking ball.
Here's the 0-2. And he let that one go high. Red Sox starting to win at home with a victory here tonight. They'll go to 11-7 at Fenway. They're 10-6 on the road, where the season started. Remember the 6 weeks we spent in Cleveland, Jerry? That one outside, and down to second base goes Mookie Betts.
It was a long time. You know, the good thing about it was the beginning of the season, so everybody's all fired up, you know, but that was a long time.
Oh, man. You can only go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame so many times. You know, and that's the number one draw there in Cleveland.
And as it turned out, and the whole time we were there, I didn't go there one time.
You didn't go once?
Not once.
No.
Nope.
And you're such a big rock and roll fan.
I know.
So on a wild pitch, Betts in scoring position. And the 2-2. Another one nearly wild, scooped by Vogt. I hope you and I are still locked in for McCartney.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I think everybody knows that by now. I think we've made it pretty clear.
Pretty clear. We've been begging. 2 down to 3-2. High fly ball left center field. But Burns will get there into the gap. And that will retire the side. But the Red Sox add on another run. And nothing more for Matt. Show has been just announced for September 10th as part of the Plainridge Park Casino Fenway Concert Series. He is co-headlining with Kid Rock. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Visit redsox.com/Jason Aldean for more information. Red Sox ahead 11-3 as we go to the 7th inning. Coghlan rips one up the middle for a base hit. That's his second single. Rick Porcello trying to go 7 innings or longer for the 4th time. He did it against Tampa Bay. He did it against the Yankees twice. So the leadoff man aboard for Coco Crisp. 0 for 2 tonight. 11 runs on 15 hits for the Red Sox.
Trying to get Haley's attention and put him behind the bag at first base. 11-3 score. Left-handed hitter at the plate. That's exactly what Farrell was getting Ramirez's attention for.
Red Sox have put up 3 consecutive games of at least 15 hits. Last night it was 16. 108 pitches for Rick Porcello. Coughlin on at first base. Red Sox with activity in the bullpen, and it's punch foul out of play. Red Sox winning 14-7, 13-5, and now ahead 11-3, and it's Tommy Lane again. So he's up for the second time. The most pitches that Rick has thrown in a start is 111 this year. And the 0-2 inside. Sox will play a couple of day games coming up on the weekend at 105 and 135, and that is in there for strike three. One oddity, they have lost 5 straight day games, but if they win tonight, they'll be 18-6 at night. Time for a game break. Let's toss it back to TC. Wow, what a night for Max Scherzer. 20 Ks. He's had a couple of amazing seasons back to back, but what an incredible performance. So he ties the major league record tonight. He's like a no-hitter waiting to happen, kind of like Arrieta for the Cubs. Burns here taking a pitch down into the dirt.
That's a good point. You know, there are certain guys, certain pitches, you know, you feel like every time they go out there, they have that chance of a no-hitter, and he's certainly one of those guys.
Pedro gave you that.
Yep.
Sandy Koufax gave you that.
Clemens.
Roger Clemens, certainly. Randy Johnson was one of those guys in his prime. Coughlin on at first base, and that one shot to short. Nice play, Bogarts to Pedroia, one on to first, and not in time for the double play. Another nifty stop though by Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, he's playing the heck out of shortstop tonight. Going to his right for a great play. This time going to his left to make a dive on kind of a skip hop right there, and Pedroia being as quick as he possibly can, but there's too much speed by Burns getting down the line.
John Farrell out to take away the baseball from Rick Porcello. His night is done. Look at his teammates around him too, and everybody congratulating Rick Porcello is getting a big hand. Well, he has really turned things around here in Boston for himself, hasn't he? Pretty remarkable. With a victory tonight, he'll be 6-1. Getting all sorts of run support as well. Red Sox ahead 11-3, and we'll be back with more in just a moment. leading 11-3. Don't forget to catch Dining Playbook on NESN this Saturday at 9 a.m. Dining Playbook driven by your New England Chevy dealers. So he can be 6-1 at the end of the night as Lane delivers to Reddick with a runner at first base, 2 down. And Tommy making his 11th appearance with a .225 earned run average. We were mentioning the guys who are like a no-hitter waiting to happen throughout their careers, but Roger Clemens never pitched one. Kind of amazing. Floated foul. Neither did Pedro.
I've actually, well, I've mentioned this many times, but I thought one game he pitched against the Yankees, and it was actually Chili Davis hit a home run off him early in the game, and then he just totally shut down a very, very good Yankee ball club. There you see the 20 strikeout games. I thought that game was better than some of the no hitters I've seen. I mean, after Chili hit a home run off Pedro, they had no chance. And this was the very good Yankee clubs when they were winning world championships. They had no chance the rest of the night. It was amazing. It's one of the best games, maybe the best game I've ever seen. And I've played behind no hitters. I broadcast no hitters, but that was unreal.
Reddick 0 for 2. He's taken ball 4. Red Sox with a commanding lead yet again. Swung on and foul, tip to the mid. He struck him out. And the side is retired. The fans will stretch here as we go to the last half of the 7th. 11-3, Boston cruising. Red Sox first pitch presented by Joseph Aboud. Available at Men's Warehouse. TC and Steve Lyons will break down the best young shortstops in baseball, led by Xander Bogaerts and Carlos Correa. We get a look at when the Astros come to town for 4. Xander having a big night with 3 hits. He's now up to 331. 3 singles in this one. And he now has 45 hits. So he has pulled to 2nd in the American League in hits. He's jumped past Dustin Pedroia tonight, at least for the moment. We're in the last half of the 7th inning. 11-3, the Red Sox leading. Fouled back, hand off toward the screen behind home plate. 15 Boston hits. There's Koji getting loose. David Ortiz on deck, and then Hanley Ramirez. So the heart of the order. And Neal with the 0-2. And he got him. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Keep up with the Red Sox this season following Nesson on Instagram. Check out cool images from home games at Fenway as well as parts of the road trips. Follow Nesson today at Instagram.com/Nesson. David Ortiz has singled. He's also drawn a pair of walks tonight. That one almost hit him.
Little breaking ball there by Neal that Ortiz was very late reacting to. He was kind of standing there. He was taking a pitch all the way and then just barely got his foot out of the way, and it got the shin of the umpire.
A strike, according to Marquez, to make it 1-1. His little buddy Maverick Shoot hanging in for the whole game. 1-2. Maverick, the heart patient who has had some 30 surgeries. He has another one coming in a few weeks. High fly fouled on the line and out of play. He is 6 years old, from Wyoming.
One of the cutest things I saw, David was getting ready to run his sprints prior to the ball game, and I ran out there to him, and they had a little conversation going. It was a pretty special moment.
Two and two.
And of course, later on, he got to throw out the first pitch, which drew a huge ovation from the crowd here at Fenway.
Giant ovation. He's got great energy, as Mom can attest. Shot into right field. Reddick will make the play, though, on a sinking line drive. And there are two down. Well, it's our cricket something to smile about moment. This was earlier in the game, back in the fourth inning, when David Ortiz singled, and Maverick was still going strong then too.
I think Maverick thought that was gone.
Base hit, home run, doesn't matter.
He knows he's on TV now, right?
Oh yeah. Andy Ramirez batting now. He has got 1 for 4 with a 2-run single. Red Sox in the lead 11-3 in the 7th inning. Sox with 3 runs in the second, 4 in the 5th. Those were the big innings. And just pouncing on the Oakland Athletics throughout this series. 14 runs game 1, 13 runs game 2, 11 tonight. And they're hitting .299 with 4 homers. Chopped on the infield, and Semien with the high bounce will get him. And the Red Sox are retired in order. We have wrapped up 7. Red Sox still leading it 11-3 over the Oakland A's. Presented by People's United Bank. And Jerry, let's see what topics people can vote on to hear you talk about tonight on NESN Sports Today. Jackie Bradley extending his streak to 17 in a row. The offensive explosion, it continues for Rick Porcello's night. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply. Number of changes here for the Red Sox will lead 11-3 as we go to the 8th inning. Koji making his 14th appearance. He needs to get some work in. Right now, let's go down to Gary Streisky.
Uh-oh, guys, I am with the special guest of the night, Mr. Maverick, 6-year-old little man from Wyoming. Uh-oh, he's gonna, here we go, Maverick. Best day of your life or what?
Yeah.
What is the best day of your life or what?
Yeah.
Hey, you wanted to tell me that you have 5 favorite Red Sox players.
I sure do.
Give me the top 5. Let me see that list.
Poppy.
Okay.
Kevin Moore, yes, number 2.
Make sure we leave him on the list.
And Sander Bogart. And
Oh, look. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
what?
What do you say, buddy?
Thank you, Big Poppy.
Thank you, Big Poppy. Hey, Maverick, does that thing weigh more than you or what?
Yes, it does.
Probably does. Where are you going to put that?
In my garage.
Gonna frame it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Guys, I'm pretty sure Maverick's night, I don't think it could have got better, but pretty sure it just did.
It just did.
Yep,
That was a slick move there by Big Poppy to slide the bat over there. Number of changes as mentioned for the Red Sox. Brock Holt goes in at shortstop. At third base, Josh Rutledge, and that'll move Shaw from third base over to first base.
That little clip should be shown everywhere. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Incredible. Incredible.
He was so excited when he found out that David gave him a bat, and he's going to put it in the garage. I would recommend his room, and which I think it'll probably end up in his room. Gary's still having a conversation.
A great little guy. Vogt knocks that one foul in the 8th inning. Red Sox leading it 11-3. Another offensive explosion for Boston. Max Scherzer has struck out 20 tonight, and he has tied the major league record. So a lot going on in the big leagues. And the Red Sox closing in on getting to 8 games over 500 for the first time this year. Vogt slaps a line drive, and that's going to drop down. Young will cut it after one bounce, and it'll be a base hit. Vogt is 2 for 4.
2 base hits for Vogt in the game. 2 ground outs to second base for him in the game. So Dave mentioned the 2 for 4 night.
How about the lid, by the way, on Stephen Vogt there? I mean, look at that helmet.
Yeah, it's got a lot of pine tar on it, doesn't it?
That's got stuff on it. A lot of stuff.
A lot of guys put a lot of pine tar on their bat, and then they'll go from their bat to their helmet, and it gets just kind of stuck on the helmet. They don't want to clean it. They want to leave it up there.
Butler swings. First ball swinging. Lines it to Betts for a second out. Sometimes it makes the team logo completely go away. Hey, tomorrow at 6:30, don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live presented by DCU. TC and Steve Lyons analyze the early struggles of David Price and Dallas Keuchel. DCU is Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you?
Now, you're very much up on college sports. And is it Notre Dame? They don't. They have to have their helmets painted for every game.
I believe that's true.
Yeah. So you could never have a helmet like that if you played for Notre Dame.
Absolutely not. Some guy, an intern, runs around with a paintbrush and will immediately, the second it has a spot on it, take it off. Here's Alonso, who doubled early in the game. Since then, he's flied to right and grounded out. Red Sox leading 11-3. Once again, pounding on A's pitching. The Red Sox did not have to face left-hander Rich Hill, the Massachusetts boy who is pitching so well, now on the A's staff with a .239 earned run average.
He actually volunteered to pitch in this game tonight against the Red Sox, but that would be on 3 days rest, and Oakland didn't want to do that so early in the season.
Good to see Rich having such a good year. That one foul tipped. He's one of the nicest men in all of baseball.
And funny, too. You know, you look at him, he always looks very serious, but he's hilarious.
Yes. And that curveball is filthy. That's great for him to be back home. 4-3 record. A lot of strikeouts. 2 down, a man at first base. And cut on and missed for strike 3. Koji gets him. 1 man is left. It was a great inning for Maverick Shoot, because his idol presented him with a David Ortiz bat. Coverage on NESN Sports today. You can hear from the new Patriots quarterback, and Jermaine Wiggins will stop by. NESN Sports today, presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. Red Sox again getting into double figures in runs. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Chris Young's been part of that with a pair of doubles. But the last time the Red Sox did this in a regular season, 3 consecutive games of 10 runs or more, was August of 07. That was part of a 4-game sweep of the White Sox. And that was a special offensive team. And Red Sox team, of course, winning the World Championship. We'll see how far this one goes, but the early returns are awfully good. Red Sox, the #1 run scoring team in the American League, and adding on a ton tonight. Young fouls it back. He's 2 for 4. Barnes getting loose for the 2nd time in the pen. Travis Shaw on deck. And the 0-2. Popped him up over third. And the shortstop Semien there.
You know, Dave, we were talking between innings, and I really hope that little clip with Gary and Ortiz giving him the bat, the reaction, the fist pump, I hope that is shown all over the baseball world, because that's really what it's all about, isn't it?
Great stuff tonight for this little guy who's endured so much and will have another heart surgery coming up in just a couple of weeks. Now in the lap of Kevin Millar. Made a lot of this happen tonight because of his association As this one has popped up back toward the netting and off into the crowd. His association with Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. And he put that meeting together before the game. Big Poppy and Little Maverick.
That's what I was talking about earlier when David was getting ready for the ball game, getting loose, and had the glove on the wrong hand. So he's got that corrected. Switched hands, and then he got ready for the first pitch, and there it goes.
David taught him a secret handshake.
Yeah.
And then presented him with a bat. A Poppy original. On the ground of the first baseman Butler. He'll underhand flip to the pitcher Neal for the out. And they're 2 away for the Red Sox. Hey, one note on the Max Scherzer gem tonight as he tied the major league record with 20 strikeouts. Get this, Jerry, 119 pitches. He threw 96 strikes.
Wow. Oh,
is that ridiculous?
Wow. That's
incredible.
Yeah, I like to watch that game.
Fine night for Vasquez with a single and a double. And he pops a foul out of play. Red Sox leading 11-3. They actually trailed in this game for just a moment. They were down 1-0 in the second. Jackie Bradley took care of that with a 3-run homer to extend his hitting streak to 17 in a row. And the Sox were off to the races again. And that one is ripped toward the wall. That's going to find the 10. It ricochets right back to Davis. It's so hard it's just a single, but it's his third hit of the game.
You know who's very happy right now? Victor Rodriguez in the dugout. Victor, of course, Red Sox assistant hitting coach, and he's been doing an awful lot of work with Vasquez along with Chili Davis, and boy, that extra work paying off, and that makes everybody happy. Player, coach. It's a fastball inside. He's had a very good night. 3 hits on a night, a single, double, another single, hard single off the wall here.
Well, Jackie Bradley trying to join him with a third hit. He has a 3-run homer, a run-scoring double. Time for our twisted but true fact. Jackie Bradley recording his 4th outfield assist last night. He has 10 double plays in his major league career, 2 more than any other outfielder since the start of 2013. Twisted tea, the hard iced tea that tastes like real iced tea. Be a little twisted. There's the play where Hannigan got spiked up high on the arm. A strike. Red Sox closing in on a sweep of Oakland. And a 4-game winning streak. That would be the case with the victory. Houston Astros are on their way here after beating Cleveland in Texas today. But that took 16 innings, so they are going to be tired. Fouled back, so 1-2 on Jackie Bradley. Mookie Betts on deck. Mookie has 2 hits. Xander Bogaerts has 3. Chris Young with a couple of doubles. Christian Vasquez with 3 hits. Jackie Bradley with 2 for extra bases. And the Red Sox have reached 16 hits for the 2nd night in a row. And there's a high deep drive to right. Did he do it again? Reddick back. He did. It's gone again. His 2nd home run of the ball game. Hot, hot, hot. He crushes another one. 6 RBIs tonight for Jackie.
You know, it is really not much to say when you're that hot as Bradley is right now, and you're swinging the bat and seeing the ball as well as he is. you just can't wait to get your next at bat. It's that plain and simple. I mean, he is on everything. That's a breaking ball that time. Lost it over the bullpen. Another tremendous night for Jackie Bradley Jr.
It's his second career multi-home run game. And no slowing down for number 25. Red Sox with 17 hits. That is a season high. And how about the effort by Robbie Ross out there in the bullpen as he went after it to try and snag it with his hat?
Yeah, he always tries to make the catch on home runs with his hat. And he's crazy. I mean, he'll go diving into walls.
And he did. He took a shot there.
No, he has no fear at all. I mean, he'll run into anything to try to make the catch with the hat.
This team's having a lot of fun. They're having a lot of fun. They've blown this one open again, 13-3. Mookie Betts up there looking for his third hit. Two down in the 3-0 pitch. And he takes a strike. This is last year now. Robbie Ross doing the same thing. Took a roller there. Scooped up by Neal, and an underhand to retire the side, but the Red Sox put up more runs. There is no slowing down Jackie Bradley. 2 homers tonight. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Red Sox with another giant lead. Surkamp, their starter, knocked out after 2 2/3 second straight night. That is when their starter has exited. Porcello in line for another win. He'd go to 6-1. Jackie Bradley with a giant night himself. 3 for 5, 2 homers, 6 RBIs. Vasquez 3 for 5. And the Red Sox lead 13-3 as we go to the 9th inning.
Well, Jackie Bradley with the big night, of course. He gets a breaking ball from the left. He takes it out of the ballpark by pulling it over the Red Sox bullpen. Gets the double over the head of Billy Burns out there in center field, a drive and a run. And then, of course, the last home run that also went over the Red Sox bullpen.
That went 409. As Matt Barnes is now into the game to try and end it. Jackie's first home run back in the second inning went 413 feet. Semien the hitter. He's 0 for 3. Trickle to third base. Rutledge tested, off balance, guns, and he gets him. Umpire at first base, Guccione, waited just an extra moment to see if Shaw would lift the foot. From improving your diet to the latest cancer treatments, learn all about stomach disease this month from experts at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. Visit bidmc.org/yourhealth. The Red Sox have scored 40 runs in this series. That is 1 run shy of the franchise record for a 3-game sweep, which was set in 1939 against the Phillies. 41 runs. This has been some series. It was the Philadelphia A's, excuse me. Coghlan, the batter. He's gone 2 for 3. (13-3). And a fastball twists him around.
Barnes throwing hard, 97 with that last fastball inside on Coghlan.
And Barnes with a 2-0 pitch. A strike. Rick Porcello will get the win and improve to 6-1. He got quite a hand when he left in the 7th inning. 6 2/3 for Rick tonight.
Vasquez still working it late in the game. You know, he sets up outside, he taps inside, so the hitter thinks that he's going to be setting up inside. He hears that, and all of a sudden Vasquez pops to the outside part of the plate. There's the tap, and there's the jump to the outside part of the plate. You hear that as a hitter. You can actually hear that, so you think they're coming inside. You think he's moving to his right.
Down and he walked him. Coghlan on board for the 3rd time in this one. 2016 CBS Health Charity Classic features more than the nation's top golfers. Don't miss the Charity Classic benefit concert featuring Grammy award-winning Lady Antebellum at Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence. That's on June 28th. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com/Charity Classic Fenway. Coco Crisp now. He has so far tonight tried to bunt his way on twice. He was given a sacrifice on one of those. He's also flied out to left and struck out. Once again, the Red Sox rolling over the A's. Poised to make it a 3-game sweep. And ready to invite in the Houston Astros. A victory would put the Red Sox at 21-13. Coghlan leading with 1 down. And a shot to center field, but pretty much right at Jackie. He'll put that away. And there are 2 down here in the 9th inning.
Well, Dave, it's going to be a nice little send-off for you as you go down to graduation for your daughter tomorrow. Of course, mentioned that earlier in the ball game that you will not be with us. TC will be with us tomorrow night, and you'll be enjoying your daughter's graduation from college. It's going to be a great night for you, and you're leaving the club in pretty good shape.
Well, I did what I could.
Yeah, you certainly did.
So it's in the hands of you and TC now to keep it rolling.
There's a lot of pressure tomorrow night.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to score at least 10 runs.
Yep. I think we all want to see David Price come through, too. And that one off the glove of Holt. That'll skip into left field. So not quite done yet as Billy Burns reaches for the 3rd time in the game. They'll be on at 1st and 2nd. I'll be following you guys from Athens, Georgia, as the Red Sox certainly appear as if they will be playing for a 5th consecutive win tomorrow night here at Fenway. And I think I'm just like you, that I want to see David Price come out and, you know, if he made the adjustments that have been talked about all week, put those into play and look like David Price again.
Yeah, I think, we're not talking about coming out and throwing 97 miles an hour. That's not what we're talking about. Just coming out and looking more like himself. The confidence that he has in himself when he's pitching well.
Leitendorf, the pinch hitter, and he'll take a strike. Would love to see that velocity come up a little bit. And the strikeouts continue. I mean, he is number 1 in strikeouts in the American League. But you want to see him beat David Price. The breaking ball is inside to make it 1-1. Red Sox ahead 13-3 with 17 hits, a season high. Matt Barnes trying to put an end to this one. And he drills it in there at 97. So the remaining crowd wants it to end on a strikeout here. And Barnes with a 1-2. Slap foul as he hangs in there. Red Sox have really put it all together in this series, and certainly tonight the combination of pitching and offense, defense, and Maverick has loved every second of it. Cut on and missed. Picked up by Vasquez, and that's the ball game. The Red Sox win another one going away, 13-3. They sweep the Oakland A's and have now won 4 in a row. And TC, that is a 40-run, 3-game sweep, and it's now in your hands.